The Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey! We grow and we know.
Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to the Marcia Week Show. We're coming to you live from, where is this? Blowing in the wind, the flag of Barbados, live from Barbados. And here on the Marcia Week Show, we educate, we motivate, we mobilize, and we agitate. That's what we do right here on the Marcia Week Show, coming to you live from Barbados. I am Marcia Weeks, the host of the show, and we're so happy and delighted that you have joined us tonight. And I tell you, we have so much to discuss tonight. Tonight, we're taking a deep dive into this escalating regional controversy surrounding the Brent Thomas case. Now, at the recent CARICOM Summit, Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, publicly raised questions about the circumstances under which Brent Thomas was removed from his hotel room in Barbados and returned to Trinidad, a matter that the High Court in Trinidad has reportedly described as kidnapping. Barbados Prime Minister Amor Mottley indicates the whole issue would be handled privately, yet later addressed the media, prompting further public reaction in Trinidad. And as she said, it was unfortunate that the Prime Minister used the term kidnapping. So tonight we want to really look at what really happened. What did the court actually rule? And we do have all of those pages of that document of the ruling from the court. We have it all. And we're going to go through it because we want to know the truth here on the Marcia Week Show. Has this now become a diplomatic issue within CARICOM? We will also play and react to commentary from ANIL Roberts. This is Senator ANIL Roberts of Trinidad and Tobago, and he's a host of the podcast called Dougla Politics. And he gives his take on the Brent Thomas matter and regional relations. Is this about law? Is this about politics, ethnic framing? Or is it that we are all asking for regional accountability? We're going to break it down on the show. But before we do all of that, let me say that we're going to be talking about the constitutional amendment in the Senate, that which happened today. This is okay. So this is the first part of the program. We're going to talk about what is happening in Barbados, constitutional amendment in the Senate. We're going to examine what happened today in the Senate regarding the constitutional amendment bill and what does that mean for democracy, crossing the floor, and parliamentary independence. We're going to deal with that. Are we strengthening democratic stability, or is the Prime Minister Amor Mottley consolidating political power? We'll have our calling segment tonight. Questions for discussion. Should the regional disputes be handled privately or publicly? Should regional disputes be handled privately or publicly? Was the Brent Thomas situation handled properly? Do you trust the transparency of our institutions? What does this mean for CARICOM unity? Yes? So we're going across borders, across parliaments, across the Caribbean. All right? And you don't have to be from Barbados to call in. We are going to be open to calls from Dominica, calls from Trinidad, calls from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is a Caribbean matter. All right? So we're going to get all involved in it. We're going to ask you to like and to share. Very important. Those of Barbados, you already know what happens when we are dealing with these sensitive topics, that there are people that decide that we should not talk about the government here in Barbados. There are people who, for some reason, believe that we shouldn't. And so they go on and do all kinds of crazy things to the channel. So we're going to ask you to please like. Good night, Teroni. I want to welcome as many of you as I can tonight. We do have a packed program, but I can't leave you out. Teroni, Monica, Judy, Carol, Cedric, good night. Andrea Critchlow, good night. Mavis, how you doing? Bajan Boy, good night. Mildred, good night. Matthew B, Queen D, how you doing? Jacqueline Allen, Annette Brewster, Lori Bob, good night. Yeah. Sherry Berry, Judith and Clark, ADG. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to call other names. ASC, good night. Beverly Perscott, Marva Hunt, Cami. Hey, Cami, yes, happy Sabbath to everybody who's doing Sabbath. Annette, Sean Yard, Pedro Dremott. Tammy, SLB's Godwin, hello to everybody. If you listen, remember this, if you're watching from any other Caribbean island outside of Barbados, we want to give you a special welcome. I believe this is a good time that we can be honest with each other and really I'll have a great conversation. And the beautiful thing about the Caribbean is that, the people, in terms of the citizens, we don't have any problems with each other. We travel and sorry, I think I see something on my teeth, sorry. We travel and we connect with each other for carnival and shopping. Trinidad, we used to go to Trinidad a lot to shop. Who remember that? Who remember that we used to go to Trinidad a lot to shop? Yeah. We used to shop a lot in Trinidad, and there was a time I learned when I was in Trinidad that Trinidadians used to come here to shop. You believe that? Yeah, there was a time where our prices were so low that they could come here to shop. And of course, we're not tired of eating Trinidoubles. So we love one another. All right. So we don't have the problem with each other. Frederick Street, correct. Yes, catwalk. What's catwalk? Huh? Yes. The TNT dollar was 5 to 1 USD. Yes. And we used to go over there, Vihoy. We used to shop there. That's where we used to go before the price of the ticket was so high. But we have strong relationship. We come back with the kurma. We come back with roti skin, with all kinds of things. We pack up even with the KFC. We used to pack up with the KFC because we say that Trinidad KFC tastes better than all the KFC in the Caribbean. I hear Jamaicans say that. Everybody say that, and we love Trinidad food. You could go to Trinidad KFC and you're going to get all the condiments. So you're going to get the green pepper thing, even though that normally KFC doesn't do that. But they had that special thing. Car parts, correct. Any Trini? Is there any Trini watching? Anybody? Yes, we are. Anybody, and listen, because we're not warring with no Trinidad, please. Trinidad, we're not warring with you. We're not warring with nobody in the Caribbean. We're all trying to survive. We ain't worried, right? Yes, they had penny wives. Yes. Anybody from Trinidad watching who want to say hi? I'm from Trinidad. Royal Castle, yes. Royal Castle, yes. Carnival, yes. And I'm like you. When I get to Trinidad, I get off the plane and then I turn left. And when I turn left, I go to get my doubles. Right? And I love Trini's pure laughter, jokes all the time, and so on. But car parts is a big one. And Dave would tell me, see if you find this car part and bring it back. Curtain, yes, how we can forget the curtains. I'm a big girl, I love it. Natasha says catwalk is the name of the store. Okay. Yes, curtains. Trinidad was the place of curtains, man. And somebody, Nina, giving a shout out. Anybody from Trinidad? Anybody from St. Lucia? Anybody from Guyana? Somebody said they used to go to the Baha'i faith worship workshops. Okay. Yeah, but we have textbooks. It's true. It is true to this day. It's cheaper to get the textbooks there. Yes, you said it went to Trinidad, and when we got there, the person who picked us up told us no hotel, stay in our house. That's them, and wouldn't take a cent. That's it. June is from Guyana. We love Guyana too. Yes. Somebody said my cousins live in Trinidad. It's important, Yes, Moses for all the material, because at our dance school, we used to go and buy all the material in Trinidad because it was cheaper. Everything was just cheaper there. But don't forget that there was a time that Trinis used to come to Barbados to shop. Yes, it's true. It is true. They used to come to Barbados. And we want to establish that, we're not in any war with Trinidad, any fuss with Trinidad. But we believe that the reason why we're discussing this on the show is it that we're trying to widen the divide between Barbados and Trinidad? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What is important for us, especially us in Barbados, this case with Brent Thomas is very, very important. One, he's a Caribbean citizen. And we understand that if this happened to Brent Thomas, then it is something that could happen. This could happen to any of us. If these allegations are true, which at this point, I guess it's gone beyond allegations because we have the court document here with everything. And the judge has ruled in a particular way that we're going to talk about here on the show tonight. So somebody might ask, what? So are you widening? No. No. Transparency. Are we following the rule of law? Very important. And the next thing I'll say about this before I jump into the amendment of the Constitution, I want to say that we should not forget Salisbury. How many of you remember Salisbury? Salisbury. We can't forget Salisbury. How many of you remember Salisbury? Put your thumbs up. Do you see any similarities between Salisbury and the Brent Thomas case? We're just gonna look at this for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go right into Barbados, and we're going to look at the amendment to the Constitution. And at 7:45, about 10 to 8, we will go back to the Brent Thomas case. Senator David NAKHID is going to be joining us. Remember, Senator David NAKHID is going to join us, and we're going to go through together Senator Anil Roberts, his video. It's so powerful that we're going to go through together with Senator David NAKHID. They are in the same government, and so he's going to have that conversation with us. But just quickly, I want us to just look at the similarity between Salisbury, Dominica, and Brent Thomas. And yes, Salisbury. You would remember that myself and Michelle, we went to Salisbury, and this was last year. Yes. So let me just I think you guys are you're beginning to see Salisbury and the Brent Thomas case, and you're going to see, yes, there are differences, but there are some similarities. And this is why we need the Barbados and the wider Caribbean need to pause for a moment, because this is bigger than one man. Okay? If we go back to Salisbury, Dominica, 2015, citizens were protesting for electoral reform. The government of Dominica, led by Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett, called in the regional security system. Seeing the similarities there? Regional forces were deployed on Caribbean people in their own country. The following, there were allegations of tear gas in communities, early morning operations, injuries, trauma to senior citizens. Remember, myself and Michelle, we went to Salisbury. We heard all the stories of everybody, and people wondered, why did you go down to Dominica? You went down to Dominica because you don't like the Prime Minister. No. This is the issue that we're talking about here. This is the deployment of regional security systems on Caribbean people. Some deaths were later linked by family members to those events. To this day, many Dominicans are asking, why was regional security used against citizens demanding reform? And I wanted to use this opportunity tonight to ask us, do not forget Salisbury. The Dominica issue did not get to this level because once again, the CARICOM Secretariat refused to respond to the opposition party, who was tear gassed and the leader imprisoned, put in jail in Dominica. I met people who were shot by the RSS in Dominica. Let us not forget them. You know how we, on this platform, we believe all lives matter. It's not just Brent Thomas, but this was done to elderly people in Dominica. Now we fast forward to Brent Thomas matter. A High Court judge reportedly ruled that warrants were unlawfully obtained and criticized what was described as an abduction, or some people call it a kidnapping, in Barbados. Again, regional cooperation in the Brent Thomas case, cross-border action, serious legal and constitutional questions. Now, we both know, all of us know, that we're not saying that these are identical cases. Salisbury was public protests and so on. Brent Thomas is about warrants, due process, and cross-border enforcement. But here is a similarity that should concern all of us. And that's why we're not dealing with gossip on the show and being salacious. In both situations, Caribbean citizens are asking, who authorized this? Who, under what legal framework? For both instances, what safeguards exist? And who checks regional power when it is deployed domestically? Do you see why it is important that the Salisbury matter be investigated? The people in Salisbury, they're Dominicans. They're people too. They might not have the money as Brent Thomas to prove, to take this all the way, in court and all of that, but they are people too. CARICOM was built for integration, trade, cooperation, and functional collaboration. CARICOM was not built to become a mechanism that citizens fear. Regional security cooperation is necessary, yes, but regional power without transparency, without transparent oversight, is dangerous. And then you're saying, oh, we're only doing it because it's salacious. Absolutely not. If one prime minister can call another, if regional mechanisms can be activated, if security structures can move across borders, then the people deserve clarity, transparency. There must be accountability. Because today it is Salisbury. Today it is Brent Thomas. Tomorrow it could be anyone. I could go to my bed and hear that they come and take me out and throw me in Jamaica anytime. I know some of you would take a tambourine and be so happy about that. That is not anti-CARICOM. That is pro. Well, it's not anti. It's pro togetherness. It's pro us working together. Regional cooperation must never override constitutional safeguards. Why were all those elderly people tear gassed in their beds in Salisbury, Dominica? If it's your first time hearing about that, I say to every Caribbean person, research it, please. it's a stain on our relationships as Caribbean people, that people want to be put under the rug and that we don't look at it. As we're looking at Brent Thomas, we need to look at Dominica. The question is simple. What are the limits of RSS deployment? What governs cross-border enforcement? And where is the independent oversight? Caribbean unity must never mean that as Caribbean citizens we lose protection. So don't forget Salisbury and don't ignore Brent Thomas. It could be you. Yeah. This is I'm here looking at all of your comments, some of your comments, right? Okay. That's a good question. Why is it that our Prime Minister's name is a question? Our Prime Minister's name has come up in these two
in which other issues within the Caribbean
okay, there's something
raised over the course of the last year and continuing. We had the opportunity.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that's okay. I thought it was, yeah. Sorry about that. So we're going to look at this a little further at 8 p.m. Okay, so at 8 p.m. we've kind of moved the time along a little bit. Senator David NAKHID from Trinidad, he is going to be joining us, and while we play Senator ANIL Roberts' video, and he's going to react to that, and we're going to talk about the issue. So he's going to join us at 8 p.m. Tonight. But before we go any further, how many of you watched the Senate today? How many of you watched the Senate today? Anybody? Well, can I tell you all that the Senate went ahead and passed the bill? The bill has been passed in both the lower house and the upper house. Now, we're not surprised about that because of the makeup of the Senate. The government of Barbados have ensured that the Senate is made up in such a way that whatever they want to pass will be passed. I'm going to leave that and let that sit for you. And so to your friends and family who are saying that they're just, excited. They're so excited that there is it's 30 love. This is what you get. There is absolutely no bill that the government wants to pass into law that does not have the potential and the structure for it to be passed. There is no one to argue or to dissent in. There's no the real dissenting voices in the lower house. Thank God for Sonia Brown. All right. And in the Senate, even the independent senators, we know there are some of them that we know they speak as though they're from the government. the former Electoral and Boundaries Commissioner. The election was finished 2 weeks ago, and he's a senator. Huh? He is a senator. So do you expect that a bill that the government wants, that the law society, the legal fraternity in Barbados is saying there is a red flag? You can't pass it. But under Amor Mottley's government, those of you who are watching understand why this case with Brent, when you hear, listen, are you from Trinidad? Are you watching from Trinidad, St. Vincent, wherever you're watching it from? Listen to me, folks. If you just stay on and listen to the show tonight, you will understand exactly what happened with Brent Thomas, why it happened in Barbados. You will understand. You will understand what happened with Salisbury, Dominica, happened. When you understand the kind of government that we have in Barbados. It's a government that has all power and is extremely corrupt. Trinidad, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. If you have friends in these Caribbean islands, can you share this out, please? And listen to me. You could do what you want to do with me. I don't care, because I'm telling the truth. In this country of Barbados, not even the Barbados Bar Association, the legal fraternity in Barbados, made up of lawyers, will this Amor Mottley government listen to? They have become a law unto themselves, and this is why the Brent Thomas issue occurred, people. Whatever the PM wants, the PM gets. Yes, Ben. Who's sharing up this live? Who's sharing up this live? We have a president. Before I read the Bar Association, the Barbados Bar Association, which is our legal, this is a professional body of lawyers who are not political. And they have spoken up against the amendment of the Constitution, which the Prime Minister and this government have been going at it, will refuse to give us a complete Republican Constitution. The rest of the Caribbean, we want you to know, Annie Roberts and all of you, Kamla, all of you, we want you to know what we are going through in Barbados tonight. Ralph Thorne came on a program and spoke about it, and our Prime Minister got upset. Well, they will get upset with me tonight, because I am going to show you the root of what happened with Brent Thomas. In Barbados government refuses to follow the rule of law in Barbados. There is no accountability. Our government gets up and does anything that they want to do in this country. It does not have to be in accordance with law. They refuse. They get up. Listen, this government has their hand in the judiciary. There is corruption in the justice system in this country. This government has their hand in every arm of government. Everyone. Please send this out to all of your country. Please share it. Because they want to know, how did this thing with Brent Thomas happen? Because we have a corrupt government in Barbados. Corrupt. A corrupt government that it has been alleged they are working very closely hand in hand with criminals. Yes. Go tell the Trinidadians, tell ANIL Roberts, tell them, tell Senator NAKHID, tell Kamla, tell them all, because nobody, they're not listening to us in here. This is why this is so important to Barbados. What this woman here, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, what she did, it's so important for Barbados. No separation of powers, Jane Goddard. We want the world to know we are under a corrupt government in this country. Come for me and put me out. Come and take me, kidnap me like you did Brent Thomas. Come and do it. Because you're all capable of doing that. Huh? We salute you, Prime Minister Kamla. We salute you, Madam. Can you all share this up to Trinis, please? Because when we talk in here, they say we don't like the Prime Minister. Widespread corruption in this country. Now, what's happening? You're asking, those of you who just joined, you might be from another country. We have just had an election in Barbados 2 weeks ago. And the present government, the ruling party, they won all the seats in government. All the seats. And somebody said, well, if the people have given them a mandate, fine, depending on how you look at it. But I can also tell you that there were many persons who did not get to vote, including the leader of the opposition, because there was some issue. There were many, many issues with the voters list. Like Dominica, we had a very bloated voters list. We had issues because on the commission, we're supposed to have 3 persons from one party and 2 from the next. And the 3 persons who were from the ruling party, the Barbados Labour Party, were meeting. It's alleged. I spoke to people and the allegations, or you can come and say you were meeting. Please come on the show and say you weren't meeting. But from what I understand, because I don't know how you could be doing putting on your commission over an election and you weren't meeting. Did you inform the other 2 from the Democratic Labour Party of the meetings that it's alleged that you had? So you're giving the impression that's given to us on the outside is that this Electoral Boundaries Commission, they were meeting on their own with Barbados Labour Party members and left out members of the opposition. They could come on here and say whether that is so or not. Mr. Commissioner, who is now being rewarded with a Senate job. That is our situation here in Barbados. SOS. We are in trouble in this country. There are many Barbadians who did not get to vote. There are many Barbadians who did not get to vote, Caribbean, in the last elections. Caribbean, Trinidad and Jamaica and other places, you had elections in COVID and you allowed those who were who had the disease, who had not the disease, who had the COVID in the pandemic, you allow them to vote? No. Prime Minister Amor Mottley and her government did not allow those people to vote. Thousands did not get to cast their vote. Here we go again, another election. And numbers of Barbadians did not get to vote. You call that a fair election? I leave that for you to decide. You think that that is fair? After that election is done, February 11th, it's declared they got all 30 seats. A lot of people wondering, did they really get 30 seats? You're going to tell me that lightning struck in the same place 3 times. 3 times that you went to the poll, you got all 30 seats? Lightning struck in the same place 3 times. We are to believe that. Folks, can you like up the live for me, please? Like up the live for me, please. Everybody like up the live. If you haven't liked the live, you're watching on Facebook, like it up, share it up. Share, 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 share. Share, please. We're going to tell the world why the Brent Thomas, they will, when we finish tonight, they will understand why the Brent Thomas issue matters. They will stop asking questions and say, oh, that's why. They got all 30 seats. They claim. Listen to me, days later, the commissioner of the Electoral and Boundary Commission in Barbados that administrated the election was given a government senator position, and to this day we don't even know how many persons actually voted. We don't have anything official. He's not even finished his job at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We haven't had a proper report. If we have it, somebody tell me, because I don't want to. Up until when I checked, up to yesterday, we didn't have a report. Did we get a report by today? That is what happened in Barbados. The election before that, people, those of you who are watching me from another country, Guyana, other countries, listen to me, the election before that, Miss Mottley made the commissioner of the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, after that election was over, he then became the Chief Justice in Barbados. You believe that? That is what has happened. We had an exceptional leader of the opposition, Ralph Anthony Thorne. Ralph Anthony Thorne. Amazing job. Come on, everybody, in the comment section, give him kudos. Ralph Anthony Thorne. And they did everything to ensure. In fact, today I heard in the Senate, they campaigned against him. They did a special campaign against him. And here we are, just as election is over, the first bill in Parliament. It's not our new constitution, you know. It's not the Integrity in Public Life bill that was promised to us, people of the Caribbean. People of the Caribbean, this was promised to us from 2018. that they would pass an integrity in public life bill as soon as they go into power. The first bill is to squash dissent. They do not want any opposition in the country. The Amor Mottley government does not want any opposition in Barbados. So they say that no MP can cross the floor to form the opposition. That's the first bill this very corrupt government passed. Right? This very corrupt government passed today, went through the lower house and just flowed right through the Senate. That's how we live in Barbados. That's what we live under. And it's no wonder a Brent Thomas case could have occurred. That is why. So I want you to understand, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The Prime Minister of Barbados believes, as somebody says, she believes she owns here. Her and her government, they think they own Barbados. And this government does not, in many instances, subscribe to the rule of law. And many things that they do make no sense. They trample upon our constitutional rights all the time in Barbados. So we salute Kamla. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, you are a brave woman. You are a brave woman. And we are glad. If you are happy for what Kamla did in exposing, not because this is not, listen, but we don't have any problem with Trinidad. Bajans have no problems with Trinidad. But if you are happy with what Kamla did in exposing this, put a thumbs up in the comment section. Put a thumbs up, because we don't have any opposition. We don't have any opposition there. We have nobody. Trinidad, listen to us, please. Trinidad, we do not have anybody in here that can challenge her and this government. And I remember, I have boy children, and I would say to them all the time, we were going to discipline you in our house so that when you go abroad, when you leave home, nobody has to discipline you. We would tell them it's either us or the teachers or the police. In this case, these people in here, they're a rule of law unto themselves. They make it up and they do as they like. They own the lower house. They own the upper house. Even the president is a member of the Barbados Labour Party, as far as we know, because we have not seen his resignation from the party. He resigned as an MP, as running as an MP. Did he resign from the party? We don't know. And he just resigned. So there's no accountability in here. Now that piece of legislation which the Barbados Law Association says, hold a minute, you can't pass that. The Amor Mottley government went and passed it. Somebody said the speaker, not the president. Both the speaker and the president are members of the Barbados Labour Party, as far as we know. Both of them, the Speaker of the House, Trinidad, listen to us. That's why what ANIL Roberts is doing is so important. If I was near him, I would shake his hand on behalf of the people of Barbados. We do not have any accountability structure. We don't even have an auditor general. You all hearing this? Huh? I wonder if you're all hearing this tonight, Trinidad. I'm talking to the Caribbean people, and this is why we are happy today. So many people calling, they're sending ANIL Roberts things all over Barbados. Yes, because somebody can cut the behind. We tell our children, let's cut your behind in the house so you don't go up there and get your behind cut. But we saw them cutting the behind. Somebody behind was getting cut outside there. And yes, we love our country. But Lord, we were so happy. ANIL Roberts, Prime Minister of Trinidad, drop the links. Because the people, she ain't listening to nobody in here. Let's just look before Senator NAKHID comes here. But I have to set for you the groundwork, really, why the Brent Thomas case would happen, because this is a corrupt, we are in a corrupt government, right? So Dave, let's read what the thanks Dave, let's read what the Bar Association says. So this is the Bar Association responding to what the Amor Mottley government wants to do, because they do not want us to have an opposition. They want all 30 seats, and they're saying that you cannot, none of their MPs can cross to form an opposition. Okay. February 27th, 2026, the Barbados Bar Association has reviewed the Constitution Amendment Bill 2026, which proposes to amend Section 45 of the Constitution and to insert a new Section 45D, introducing anti-defection provisions that would compel a member of Parliament to vacate his or her seat upon resignation, expulsion by, or crossing the floor from the political party under whose banner that member was elected. The BBA expresses serious concern that this bill has introduced without prior consultation with the BBA. Trinidad, did you hear this? Trinidad, did you hear this? I'm speaking to Trinidadians tonight because I need you all to keep on this. We in Barbados need you all to keep on this corrupt government. This is our a professional legal body. It's saying that the bill was introduced without prior consultation with the BBA. Regular thing. The Mottley government does this regularly. As a body charged with upholding the rule of law and safeguarding the proper administration of justice, the BBA is uniquely placed to provide principled, technical, and non-partisan input on matters of constitutional significance. The failure to engage with the BBA before presenting a bill of such profound constitutional consequence represents a troubling disregard of established democratic norms and expert legal advice. I'm going to pause. If you're joined and you have not shared this live, you need to, because you know what they do, that they're going to come and start to report the channel. Can you like the channel, please? Can you like and share? Only because we want to make sure that we stay on top in terms of the algorithm, and we know that we're fighting some forces here. Because they sought to shut down my Facebook page today after 11, and luckily we found a workaround. The BBA is the Barbados Bar Association. It's a professional body that when you become a lawyer in Barbados, then you are part of that. So it's like engineers, they have their professional organization. The Barbados Bar Association is for all of the lawyers that are, they've passed the bar and they've done, they're ready to, and done all the required exams, etc., in order to work in Barbados. So this is the legal, the body with the legal, all the legal professionals are in this. Okay. Okay. So the BBA, the Barbados Bar Association, underscores that amendments affecting parliamentary tenure and the very structure of representative democracy demand broad-based, informed consultation and careful scrutiny. Legislation of this nature, rushed or imposed without meaningful public and professional engagement, risks undermining public confidence in the integrity of Barbados's democratic institutions. You hear that word democratic coming up? Democratic. This is a Barbados Bar Association. You're going to tell me that you're, so what are you going to say, that they're partisan? We further note that the bill raises questions requiring deeper consideration. For example, the Constitution is premised on the election of individual representatives, not political parties. Any amendment tying parliamentary tenure to party affiliation should therefore be preceded by broader reform addressing the constitutional role of political parties. 2, there is a risk of potential abuse by political parties, including the strategic expulsion of members for partisan advantage, and it is unclear how the provisions would operate in situations where the distribution of seats following an election results in an equal number for 2 or more parties. Folks, we are going to we're going on to the Brent Thomas case very, very soon. I see Miss Senator David NAKHID, our good friend, has joined us, and I'm going to ask him for 2 minutes because we just had this new development in Barbados. Dave, can you go up a little bit more and let me read a little bit more of this before I go into before I invite David NAKHID on? The BBA is also concerned that the standing orders were suspended to truncate debate on this bill. Do you hear that? In order to truncate debate on this bill, the standing orders were suspended, despite there being no demonstrable urgency to justify such a measure. Anything else, Dave? That's it? That's what you have there. Okay. Folks, when you get a chance, and if you haven't seen this yet, I'm going to ask you to read it. And this is the bill. People are saying, oh, okay, I thought people were saying they can't see the show. But folks, less than an hour ago, the controversial amendment to the Constitution to deal with the anti-defection legislation has passed in the upper house. 15 senators voted for, 3 against, and there were 2 abstentions. opposition senators Ryan Walters and Corinne Goodrich, along with independent senator, voted against, while Dr. Kenneth Connell and Ryan Ford abstained. These are the independent senators that abstained. And because, again, they have so set this thing that they can get the 2/3 majority. This is what the Prime Minister Amor Mottley administration has done in Barbados, that whatever PM Mottley wants, PM Mottley gets. Thank God for Kamla. Let me see the comment section again. All of those putting up thumbs up. Thank God for Kamla. Thank God for Kamla. Thank you, Kamla. As Senator David NAKHID is coming on, so he can take it back and tell Kamla, say thank you, Kamla. Because only Kamla can cool her, it looks like, and bring some order in here. Thank God for Ryan Walters, Karina Goodrich, and Reverend Dr. John Rogers doing such an amazing job. We thank them. We thank them. Yeah. All right. Well, we have we have Senator David NAKHID here with us. And Dave, we're going to be talking about the Brent Thomas case and look at the CARICOM, what's happening in CARICOM at this moment. And while he is coming in, if Dave, can you just play for me? Actually, let me introduce him, and then you set up for me Senator ANIL Roberts. We're going to play a little bit, and then we're going to talk about it. So let me welcome Senator David NAKHID. Welcome, Senator NAKHID.
Thank you, Marcia. Nice to be with you. A special hello from Trinidad and Tobago to all your viewers, all your listeners worldwide, and especially in the CARICOM region.
Yes, most definitely. It's a real joy to see you tonight. And I remember when you were senator, your party was in the opposition the last time that you visited Barbados, and now your party is in power. What do you want to as we open up? You see, your colleague is I'm telling you, he's a Bajan now. Barbadians are sending this all over with a big smile on their face since morning. What is the climate like in Trinidad concerning this issue?
Well, most Trinbagonians, they are very aware that the Prime Minister delivered a magnificent speech. She spoke truth to power. And it's a bit different when someone who has power speaks truth to power. We talk about speaking truth to power, but normally it's a common man. It's a small man. But when a powerful leader within the CARICOM region speaks truth to power, like Kamla Persad-Bissessar did yesterday in her speech in CARICOM recently, no doubt Amor Mottley was in the crosshairs of that speech, because she spoke about the abduction of a Trinbagonian citizen. This, of course, is Brent Thomas, by a conspiracy, so to speak, of kidnapping between Trinbago officials and Bajan officials. And the mood here is one of curiosity. The mood here is one of, we want to find out who is culpable, who is to blame in this matter, and especially given the strong statement that your Prime Minister made that the terming of a kidnapping was a lie. She said it was a scurrilous lie. And these are strong words. And I hope, as we prosecute this matter, I hope for her sake that it does turn out to be so, because if it doesn't, I think this veneer of sanctimonious righteousness that I feel that she carries, especially to the outside world, I think it will be laid bare now.
She actually said it was defamatory.
That's what she said. Yes, that's what she said.
Wow. That
But will it hold up under scrutiny? Let's examine the case.
Yeah. Well, let's start with what we're going to do, because people are so familiar with Mr. Anil Roberts all of a sudden in Barbados. I tell you, I probably got this about probably 15 times already from Bajans with big smile on their face. They're happy. But let's play a little. We're gonna play probably 5 minutes of it of a time, and then we stop and discuss. Go ahead, Dave. Let's listen along.
Bubbles and coffee. Honorable Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley, you went home and talked to basically a friendly media person to talk about the Brent Thomas kidnapping, and you stated that is an unfortunate description, that the government of Barbados does not get down into police operations and it's defamatory and so on. I would just like to say at the onset, you start a song like Keith Christopher Rowley. You really walk side by side with Keith Christopher Rowley. So, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley, the Dougla has some questions for you, because we've been waiting for you to talk a long time. You didn't respond to the open public position of the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. You stated on 3 occasions that it will be dealt with privately. Well, I didn't agree with that. So I'm happy that you talk, but you are an attorney. And you know, when you talk, your words are on record forever. And you talked, Honorable Prime Minister, and you opened the proverbial can of worms. So now, the country of Trinidad and Tobago, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the people of the CARICOM, and certainly, I believe, the people of Barbados, who've just given you another mandate to lead them with honesty, integrity, and brilliance, creativity, and move them forward for the next 5 years. Have some questions. I'm going to ask them, but I'm certain they're on the lips and minds of all CARICOM citizens with this fiasco that involved Brent Thomas. First of all, the description of it as a kidnapping was not done by anybody, no journalist, no politician. It was done by a Justice Devendra Rampersad, who went through in detail documentation, pleadings, submissions, witness statements, and so on. Went through every piece of paperwork, understood the law, what would have been necessary to move from Trinidad and Tobago to land in another sovereign nation, to take Trinidad and Tobago police service officials into the sovereign territory of Barbados on a CARICOM Impact jet, to go to the hotel of a citizen and to remove him forcibly, detain him for 12 hours without food or water, summarily put him on a CARICOM jet and return him against his will to his country, Trinidad and Tobago, and then lock him up. The judge, justice, the impartial heirs of the law, the separation of powers in Trinidad and Tobago, in his scathing judgment, he described that as a kidnapping. So for you to say the word is unfortunate and it's defamatory and so on, you're attacking a judge in Trinidad and Tobago. And as an attorney, I think you should know better than that. Especially since, as you said, you as a prime minister and the executive, the head of the executive in Barbados, you don't dig down into operational issues. You know who you sound like there? You sound like Stuart Smallpin-Young during COVID, when he and Rowley locked our citizens out of this country, and you, the Honorable Mia Amor Mottley, had to take care of 22 of our citizens, spending Barbados taxpayers' money to keep them safe and sound. And we say to you, thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for your show of love, camaraderie, and togetherness and unity. But you sung like Stuart Smallpin-Young when Delcy Rodriguez landed here while citizens were unable so to do on a sanctioned jet, and somehow with PDVSA oil and gas officials went straight into the face of Keith Rowley. And Keith Rowley then came out and said, I don't know who these people were. We were coming to talk about COVID-19 and some hampers and something. And who was this? As Astrobal Chavez and he started to lie through his teeth. But that's your friend. And now you make me think, show me your friend. Rowley in Trinidad and Tobago is a pariah. He's been made out to be a pathological liar, not an ordinary liar. He's been caught lying from the onset, continuously, in Parliament, out Parliament, in press conference, anytime he opens his mouth. Children know, once Rowley mouth moving, he lying. And you sound like Stuart Smallpin Young, because he said when he was the Minister of National Security, the only human being on the planet who could approve and give an exemption for anybody to land on the sovereign territory and the tarmac at Piarco International Airport was the Minister of National Security of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Who was that? Stuart Young Smallpin. He said, and I quote, "I don't drill down 13 times in 13 months. Once doubles and coffee."
Okay, let's pause it there. Let's pause it there. I see you there. You're listening intently. You heard this before?
Yes, of course, ma'am.
Let's hear from you. Senator NAKHID is here with us from Trinidad. Go right.
Well, of course, I heard it before. And Senator Roberts is not only my colleague, he's my friend of almost 40 years. And he was also a coach when I was captain of the national team. He was my coach who nursed me back from injury, a very serious injury. He, as you may know, he is also an excellent coach as well. So I'm very aware of his methodology in addressing something like this. He does his research. As you can see, he referenced the judgment of our justice, Devendra Rampersad, and how it was a detailed analysis, and that it was deemed by our courts to be a kidnapping. So I do not know how your Prime Minister, or Prime Minister Mottley, came up with that this is defamatory. This is not an ordinary citizen. This is not a bush lawyer, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago. This is a justice of the courts in Trinidad and Tobago who made that ruling. And it's very unfortunate that was her terminology used. Be that as it may, I think Prime Minister Mottley now puts herself in a position where she has to explain herself to the CARICOM and the wider, certainly to Barbadians. They would like to know how something like this illegal, it seems at the highest end of the spectrum, from the top down, how this illegal action could have taken place using Bajan or Barbadian taxpayers' dollars to do something illegal as kidnap a Trinbagonian citizen and ferry him back to, or ship him, fly him back to Trinidad and Tobago. At the behest of this, and this is the $64,000 question, at the behest of who? And this is what we are calling, and this is what our Prime Minister is calling on Prime Minister Mottley to answer. Who made this request? It's not enough to say that there was an agreement or this was an action between the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Bajan Police Service. Everyone knows no police group, as high as you might be in the police service, can commander a jet, a plane. You know, we have problems within our own TTPS. I don't know if you have it in Barbados, where sometimes our police services can't find a car to answer the call of a crime. Yet they were able to commander a jet, an Impax jet, a CARICOM plane, take it to Barbados, get a Trinbagonian citizen, again illegally, and come back to Trinidad. So making these vague references that she doesn't involve herself in these daily affairs, this was not a decision taken by any ordinary police service person, whether in Trinidad and Tobago or in Barbados. I think that is playing smart with foolishness, if this is what she's suggesting. This decision came from high ups. We would like to know who in Trinidad and Tobago contacted the Barbadian officials, whether it was Amor Mottley herself who was contacted, whether it was the Attorney General, whether it was the Chief of Police in Barbados. These are questions we want answered. Why? We don't want this to happen again. This could happen, if this happened to a citizen of Trinidad, this could happen to a citizen of Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia. We don't want these kind of illegal activities, these strong arm activities being decided from the top, whether from Prime Minister to Prime Minister, and affecting our ordinary citizens. This is what we have. You know, the price of democracy is eternal vigilance. And if we don't pay attention to this, we never know how far we can slip in terms of our democracy and democratic rights and freedoms. And I think Amor Mottley has Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Amor Mottley has questions to answer. And we hope for the sake of all CARICOM, we hope for her sake that she answers them truthfully, because for Prime Minister Amor Mottley to say that she was unaware of something this massive in our own country, I think it begs some serious questions.
Yeah. And I'm listening to you, and as you're talking, I'm taking notes, because I'm saying to myself, how would a CARICOM plane even land here? You know, how is that? Somebody high up would have to make those kinds of decisions. It's not making sense. And I hope we have time for me to show the viewers the exact statements from the judge, which said that the warrants were illegally obtained. It's very interesting, and some of the warrants were even backdated. Did you see that part? So it's very interesting. Very interesting.
I'm very aware of all of that, but I am now at the point, Marcia, where I would like to know who gave the order. Who in Trinidad and Tobago spoke with whomever in Barbados? And how far up the chain of command did it reach? Because as we know, right after this thing came to light, to public scrutiny, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, visited Barbados. He visited Barbados, albeit he said he came to play golf. Now, as you heard my senatorial colleague, ANIL Roberts mention, we all know now former Prime Minister Keith Rowley is a pathological liar. He did not come to play golf. He came to meet with Amor Mottley. We would like to have the minutes of that meeting, if possible. We would like to know what they spoke about. I think this does not augur well for your Prime Minister. Keith Rowley is now out of office, but now your Prime Minister has been handing a fresh mandate, however that may be. She has been handed a fresh mandate. She's still perceived as a darling of the Caribbean within the international circles. And I think if she wants to continue being perceived as such a talker of truth to power, she needs to come clean on this one and let us know who contacted her from Trinidad and Tobago, how high up the chain of command that was. Why did Christopher Rowley, former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, come to visit her right after this came to light? What was spoken? And she needs to come clean in the interests of CARICOM unity, in the interests of justice, in the interests of a wider integration that stands up to scrutiny and transparency.
Yes. Let's play a little bit more of your friend, because some people didn't hear him, and you know, they get the opportunity tonight to hear both of you. Go right ahead, Dave. Let's hear it for a minute.
Stuart Small Pinion, because he said when he was the Minister of National Security, the only human being on the planet who could approve and give an exemption for anybody to land on the sovereign territory and the tarmac at Piarco International Airport was the Minister of National Security of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, who was that Stuart Young Smallpin. He said, and I quote, "I don't drill down into these matters." Total blatant lie. No, I am not suggesting that you are lying, but you said that the Barbados government does not get involved in police matters and operational issues, which may sound good, except that this is an original situation. So let me ask you, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley, has a situation like the Brent Thomas issue, that police officers from a sovereign nation got on a CARICOM unifying jet and belonging to the people of the Caribbean without permission, or did they get permission? We don't know. We need the truth. Got on a jet and landed in another sovereign nation, usurped the authority and the partnership of that territory's constabulary, went to a hotel without the requisite paperwork, and took up a citizen out of his hotel room, detained him, kept him without food and water, and summarily put him back on that international jet, that CARICOM jet, and returned him to a country that he was not heading to. How many times has this happened before, in your recollection, please, Honorable Prime Minister? And how many times has this situation happened since? I put it to you that this is a very rare situation and requires investigation, analysis, and full information. Furthermore, CARICOM Impact's jet to land in Barbados requires executive permission. This is where you and your government get involved. It's not ordinary. You are in charge. You have the mandate for the sovereign territory, the nation of Barbados. People can't just land on your tarmac just so. And the police cannot give permission for a CARICOM jet carrying other police officers to land on Grantley Adams Airport. The only people who could give permission for that to occur is your government, of which you are the head. The cabinet is formed with you and your Attorney General. So you cannot obfuscate and take that position of Rowley and Smallpin. I don't get down in that. No, it's not down in that. You are the only one who could authorize that. Your government, duly sworn in, you swore on the Bible. Is a very serious thing. You have a mandate. The people voted you in overwhelmingly. So you are the only one. You're not the commissioner of police, not the constabulary, no one, not the airport traffic controller, not the baggage handler, nobody except your government could authorize a CARICOM Impacts jet to land on Grantley Adams Airport to conduct operations. See, it's not about getting down in the operation. Me, I want you go with bulletproof vest and kick down no door and drag a man out the bed and put, not that. How they reach, how they land, who granted the permission from your government. It's you. You are the only one who could do that. Furthermore, Honorable Prime Minister, why did your government, while this court case is still ongoing and we're trying to determine how much the people and the taxpayers of Barbados will pay Brent Thomas, why did you apologize and accept liability? If it was nothing big and you don't get down in operational activities and so on, and how much money will the taxpayers of Barbados have to pay Brent Thomas? Because we in Trinidad and Tobago want to know how much taxpayers' money will have to be paid to Brent Thomas from Trinidad's side also. Has this ever happened before, as I said? You said that a warrant, they had a warrant. Now you're a lawyer, an attorney. And right there, you see how my face changed. Deeply disappointed. That warrant that you say they had, was that an international warrant? Was that a warrant that covers under some treaty signed by the sovereign nation of Barbados with international agencies? Was that an international warrant? Was that an Interpol warrant that is covered by process and procedure and allows for interconstabulary cooperation in different jurisdictions. Was it that? That warrant that you're talking about, was that a local Trinidad and Tobago warrant? Or was it an extradition warrant? Did it have international power? Did it legitimize operations on another sovereign nation's soil? You see, you're playing fast with foolishness, Honorable Prime Minister, who's an attorney. Please tell us, what warrant are you talking about? And if it is a warrant that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service had for a man in Trinidad and Tobago, please explain to all of us, your citizens, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and the CARICOM, how that warrant could be effective or have any efficacy or power in Barbados. Can a warrant in Trinidad have power in Barbados? And does that warrant allow Trinidad and Tobago Police Service members to just jump up and go to anybody's territory, land, and arrest citizens in other people's jurisdiction? What is
okay, Dave, let's hold it there.
Is that term utilized?
All right, so let's hold it there. And just before Senator NAKHID responds to that, Dave, if you can find page 78 in that legal document from the judge. And let's go to paragraph 197. And then we're going to go to page 89, paragraph 223, right? This is the judgments that were handed down by the judge, okay? And because we're not in here trying to make up anything on the Prime Minister, and so we're going to show it here. But, Dave has it right there. Dave has it right there, Senator NAKHID, and I'm seeing Dr. Reverend Ferdinand is here, although there seemed to be something. Okay, he's right there. Good night, Reverend Ferdinand.
Good night, Marcia, and good night to you, Senator NAKHID. It's been a long time. I've shared the platform with you. Pleasure to see you. You are making me feel a little older than I think I should by looking so young and ravishing. Good night to the loyal opposition as well. And it's a pleasure to join you both this evening. I have been listening with intrigue, and I can't. One is challenged to believe what we are hearing. And while you were speaking, while you, Sir Senator, you were speaking, and your colleague on the video, I took the liberty of looking up some words, the definition of some words. Now, I try to be a very simple person. So I looked up the word transparency. I looked up the word extradition. And I looked up the word kidnapping, just to see what their definitions were. I discovered that kidnapping is the abduction of a person without their consent. I discovered that transparency has to do with being open to public scrutiny. And I discovered that the Prime Minister of Barbados is the Minister of National Security in Barbados. It is impossible for any individual from another sovereign country, to infiltrate or should I say, to go into another territory just like that, willy-nilly, without some interaction with the local authorities. Now, I'm hard-pressed to find out, and Senator, you might be able to answer me this one. What is our Prime Minister going to say to the President of the United States? You did the same thing?
We will hold that one right there, because we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
I'm not going into that. All I'm saying is you can't say one thing out of one side of your mouth and say one thing out of another. You have to be consistent. And that is where the problem lies.
Yes, and I loved how you had those, Dr. Ferdinand, really love that you did the definitions. I love that you did that. But let's look at this, the judgments, Dr. Ferdinand and Senator NAKHID. Let's look at these judgments. So this is page 190. page 197, and this is page 78, I'm sorry, paragraph 197. This is about Senator NAKHID and Reverend Ferdinand. This is about the warrants, okay? It says, with respect to the decision to arrest and detain the first claimant over the period 5th of October 2022 to 11th of October 2022, the court is of the respectful view that the same was pursuant to the warrants of apprehension issued and dated the 3rd of October 2022. From the evidence that is before the court is satisfied that the warrants of apprehension were unlawfully obtained without any proper basis whatsoever in light of the existing permits and licenses which were not revoked. As a result, the court will grant the declaration requested in this regard. I just had to read that because your Senate colleague made mention of this, and I wanted the people to see it for themselves. Jump right in there, Senator NAKHID, before we go to the next. Dave, page 89, paragraph 223. Go ahead. But go ahead, Senator NAKHID. Okay, I'm sorry. We had muted you because some noise was coming through. So repeat, because we had muted you.
Okay. Now you've brought out in the public domain what Senator Roberts has said, and it now places further pressure on your Prime Minister, given that it has been ruled by a Trinbagonian court that these warrants were obtained illegally, meaning they made no case. They could not have obtained either a legal warrant for the basis that there was no ability to make out a prima facie case against Brent Thomas, and they went ahead. That's one of the scenarios. They went ahead and obtained an illegal warrant. In other words, it was not signed off properly by a judge in Trinidad and Tobago to give that warrant. And as we know in Trinidad and Tobago, no police officer can leave the jurisdiction of Trinidad and Tobago without the permission of the Minister of National Security. And given that we more or less operate under the same system, that means no police officer from a foreign country can enter the jurisdiction of the Republic of Barbados, I presume, without the permission of the Minister of National Security. And our good Reverend has indicated that would be Prime Minister Amor Mottley.
Right, and that's what I love what you did there, Dr. Ferdinand, at the beginning, because this document, this judgment, this document that we're reading here makes mention of abduction, and that basically that's what it is. It's a kidnapping, but
precisely.
Yeah. Dr. Ferdinand, if we go to the other, Dave, go to 223, paragraph 223. This is page 89, 223. So the other way. Yes, thank you. Right there.
Marcia, I have to laugh because I have sitting in front of me on my screen the definition of extradition and the conditions required for an extradition.
You wanted to go with that? You can go ahead.
No. You go right ahead. You go right ahead.
You have us curious now. But anyway, I'll read this and then you can always come in. That is sounding quite good. All right. It says here, let me make sure that's the part I want. To the immense credit of senior counsel and junior counsel for the first defendant, they conceded that the return of the first claimant from Barbados to Trinidad was unlawful. This is what you just said, Senator NAKHID, that the government, they conceded that it was unlawful. Barbados, you heard? So we need to ask our Prime Minister, we need to ask our Prime Minister, what was it that you conceded was unlawful? What is it? And was with regard to the extradition process provided and was without regard to the extradition process provided for by the Extradition, Commonwealth and Foreign Territories Act, Chapter 1204. No further concession was given in that regard, and as mentioned, the further information was provided by ASP Birch about circumstances regarding the detention and return. So what was it that they go up a bit back to 223? Okay, what did you concede to, Prime Minister Mottley? What is it did you concede to? I'll let Senator NAKHID jump in there, because you made this, you said this, and it is here in the claim, right? In the judgments, it's right here. But go ahead, Senator NAKHID, and then we go to Dr. Ferdinand with the.
Well, I can see why the good Reverend is laughing, because this shows that, as my senatorial colleague Senator Roberts says, that former Prime Minister Keith Rowley and now your Prime Minister, the Honorable Amor Mottley, they seem to have a problem with memory as far as the truth is concerned. I would say they are both strangers to the truth, and it appears that Amor Mottley forgot what she said in declaring that this was an unlawful extradition. Now she's claiming that it's defamatory when it is recounted to her what has been the judgment in a Trinbagonian court, which she recognized and she conceded to. Now, this is a serious matter. Does she fall in the category of being a pathological liar?
Well, we don't know. We can't say that on the show.
We can't say, but I said, does she fall into that category given what we are seeing now? No,
you're asking a question. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm asking the question. Does she fall into that category, or does she fall into the category of many leaders who tend to forget what they say? I do not know. I cannot make a judgment. But what I will say, the evidence is quite glaring that an illegal act was perpetrated and accommodated. I repeat, an illegal act was perpetrated and accommodated. Let the people of Barbados and CARICOM make of that what they want.
Yes. Let me go. Let me go to Dr. Ferdinand, because you were laughing. I saw you.
David, I trust you don't mind me calling you David. If I hope not.
No, not at all, Reverend. Not at all. Not at all.
I'm reading the definition of extradition. It's the formal legal process by which one jurisdiction surrenders a person accused or convicted of a crime to another jurisdiction where the crime occurred for the purposes of prosecution or punishment. It is a cooperative law enforcement procedure between two jurisdictions and depends on the arrangements made between them. In addition to legal aspects of the process, extradition also involves the physical transfer of custody of the person being extradited to the legal authority of the requesting jurisdiction. In other words, there would have to happen a formal legal request made by the government of Trinidad and Tobago from the Minister of National Security to the government of Barbados, the Minister of National Security in Barbados, together with the Attorney General in terms of the legal counsel and advice, to have Mr. Brent removed from Barbados. Trinidad cannot simply come into Barbados and go anywhere in Barbados, even accompanied by the police, unless that extradition order has been formally requested and accepted by the government of Barbados. And that is the standard procedure, David, across the globe when it comes to matters of extradition. If that has not been followed, it is not surprising the finding of the court. And I don't want to say any more, as it would then reflect on the authority individuals responsible who would now wish to claim that they knew nothing about it. That is incredible to even conceive that you knew nothing about it. How can an extradition procedure go on in your country and you be the head of the national security and you not be aware of it?
Yeah, very well said. Go ahead, Senator NAKHID, and I want you to read the comment from David Licorice here and respond, because he's saying that's your opinion. There are some questions to be answered. Until the completion of a full investigation, he's saying, regarding the arrest warrant and establish if the arrest warrant was valid. But you answer him. You answer this person, because he's saying that.
Marcia, can you repeat? Can you repeat his comment? Your voice cut on my end. Can you repeat his comment, please?
All right. He's saying here that it's your opinion that I guess that the warrants were illegal. He says that we have to wait until the full investigation occurs and establish if the arrest warrant was valid.
Well, I'll give him a quick response. So far, I've never seen a more detailed prosecution of this case as I've seen now on your show. You presented the judgment of the Court of Trinidad and Tobago, which clearly stated that it was an illegal act. You presented also the evidence where Amor Mottley stated and conceded that it was an illegal act. So I do not know what the gentleman, I forgot his name, what you mentioned. I do not know. Yes, I do not know what further evidence he will want. But, you know, sometimes you have willful ignorance, or you have maybe a misunderstanding or a lack of understanding of what is before him. But I think we presented enough evidence for those right-thinking people who want to see justice served. I think we've done a good job until now.
Yes. Well, you know, for those who probably Mr. Licorice had just joined, Dave, I know I don't want to have you going all over the place, but if you go back to page 78, this is the judgments here, Mr. Licorice. So the investigation has already been carried out, okay? And this is what the judgment is, and this is what the government of Barbados, what they conceded. I know Senator NAKHID said the Prime Minister, but you know, we talk about the government here conceded to this, right? So 197 says, with respect to this decision to arrest and detain the first claimant over the period of 5th of October to the 11th of October 2022, the court is of the respectful view that the same was pursuant to warrants of apprehension issued and dated the 3rd of October 2022. From the evidence, Mr. Licorice, from the evidence that is before the court is satisfied that the warrants of apprehensions were unlawfully obtained without any proper basis whatsoever, in light of the existing permits and licenses which were not revoked. This is the T&T. This is what it was taken to the High Court. This is what they have, the judgment. So I don't know, Mr. Licorice, does that answer your question? But Dave, back to the section and that we want to look at. I asked you earlier. I think it's page 90 to 24. Yes. Says, can you see it, Dr. Ferdinand?
Yes, I can.
Can you read for me, please?
Just let me hide the comment because it's blocking a bit of the.
Yeah, let me do that as well.
Yeah, thank you. In the absence of any other information and bearing in mind the chronology and fact that the court does have before it, the court is the fact that the court does have before it. The court is therefore at liberty to infer that ASP Birch and or other unknown members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service caused the detention of the first claimant in Barbados by enlisting the assistance of the Barbados Police Force to do so. In fact, the first claimant's evidence in this regard as to the circumstances of his detention in Barbados is uncontroverted, especially since no member of the Barbados Police Force went on affidavit to indicate the circumstances under which the first claimant was detained. The very fact of the handover at the airport near the tarmac is indicative of this inference, having regard to ASP Birch's involvement prior to the detention in Barbados and the handover to him.
Yeah.
Marcia, if I may say.
Yeah, yes, because there's a question here. So just
yes.
quickly,
No, go ahead with the question. I'll hold.
Right, just make a note of it because I want to answer their question. Okay. David Licorice is saying then David NAKHID, because this is part of what happens here. You know, a lot. People have questions, they can't, you know. Anyway, David Licorice is saying, thank you, Marcia. You're welcome, David. Then whose fault is that? Certainly not the PM, he says. What are your thoughts about that? Okay, once again, I had muted your mic because of the noise, but go right ahead, sir.
Okay, my first thought, Marsha, is what is the role? I think our laws mirror very much those of Barbados. And I know in Trinidad and Tobago, no police officer can make such a decision without the acquiescence or permission or authorization of the Minister of National Security. My question to Mr. Licorice and to you, who was at that time the Minister of National Security in Barbados?
The Prime Minister, Amor Mottley, was the Minister of National Security.
Well, then I will pause it here. Without fear of contradiction, there's no way any constable, any ASP, any superintendent would take such a massive decision
on
his own
to
accept police officials, law enforcement officials from another country on a jet to enter the territory of a foreign nation like Barbados, extract a citizen of a foreign country and have him put on a plane back to his country. Without fear of contradiction, without fear of any lawsuit, we have to be honest with each other. If we are here to prosecute something and we are in search of justice and the truth, let's not play smart with foolishness. There is no way, as the Minister of National Security, Prime Minister Amor Mottley did not know what transpired. And I say that, and I take full responsibility, Marcia, for my words. There's no way.
I mean, one would have to concur that, looking at what the judgments are and the role, based on the role that she plays. So I totally understand that. Rev, you were saying something?
Marcia, I'd like Mr. Licorice to recognize the fact that this is nobody's opinion. This is the judgment of the court. This is not, Prime Minister's opinion, my opinion, your opinion, or Senator NAKHID's opinion. This is the judgment of the court. And if we are not going to respect the judicial system that we have operating within our territories, what are we left with? You know, I asked this question, and again, I try to be simple, Senator NAKHID. When the West Indies team loses a series or even a match, who do they call down on?
The coach.
Or the captain.
Correct.
They don't mind who's the fast bowler, the wicket keeper, the batsman. They couldn't care less about that. The person who is the captain or the coach. It always comes back. You see, I am tired of people trying to sidestep the responsibility of leadership in matters that they should be mindful of and accept responsibility for. I remember former Prime Minister Arthur admitting that he accepted responsibility for XYZ. If you mess up and you make a mistake, accept responsibility, apologize for it, and set the record straight. Why try to sidestep it and go around it when the buck stops at you, especially on a matter of this serious nature, where another country, a foreign country, is going to infiltrate another sovereign nation and arrest even one of its own members, sovereign citizens. That is impossible.
I'll give you the short answer, Reverend. Am I muted, Marsha?
No, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I'll give you the short answer. For too long, we've had leaders more interested in sound bites internationally. We've had leaders who present a certain moral, and I spoke about this in one of my recent videos. They present a certain moral hubris when they speak about Western countries and how they colonized us, enslaved us, exploited us. They talk with a certain moral, on a certain moral high horse. But within their own countries, they've been found wanting. I call no names because of Marsha's show, but I know exactly of whom I speak. You can't have this moral hubris when you speak about what the Western countries have done to our CARICOM nations, which is entirely true. And then when you come in your own country, you exhibit the same moral duplicity, with your own citizens, with your own taxpayers. You cannot be honest. And as you've said, own up. And that is a quality of leadership. Own up for what you have done, whether it's a mistake, whether it was intentional, but you cannot try to hoodwink. I mean, why would you try to hoodwink your own population when you've done something so glaringly wrong?
Yeah, but you see, you're seeing it so clear. A lot of Barbadians, they actually believe that PM Mottley can do nothing wrong. She's been put up on a pedestal, and there's some people you can't. When I try to speak up about anything, the first thing they tell me, I need to leave the country. They literally want her to deport me because they do not want any voice of dissension, because they have put this woman up on this. It's almost like she's an idol in the country, and she can't do anything, do any wrong. Am I not right, Dr. Ferdinand?
Marcia, you are not only right, you're deadly accurate. And Dr. NAKHID, recently I saw that President Xi, is that how I pronounce his name in China? President Xi is removing people from his hierarchy to consolidate his position as the supreme leader of China. What we are seeing here in Barbados, after a meeting with the Chinese Communist Party and the Barbados Labour Party, not as government to government, what we are seeing in Barbados today is a move to attempt to consolidate your position and silence any dissenting voices, even when, in truth and in fact, they're speaking the truth. And it is quite simple. I mean, I am reading the information off the page in front of me, and it is quite clear the court's decision. Has there been any appeal?
In fact, they said they conceded. So I don't understand how they could appeal to something that they conceded. And this is the thing about it that I don't understand it. So Senator NAKHID, I know you're going to leave us soon, but this is one I hope those that are watching could see exactly why there's a 30 love again in Barbados. The facts are here, right here in the judgments here. it says that the government conceded to it, right? To the judgments, to what the judge said. But yet still, people are saying, is it real? Is she responsible? Is it Barbados responsible? Do you see, Senator NAKHID, why there's a dirty love again?
Well, Marcy, I'll give you an example. As Senator Roberts stated, it mirrors similar situation in Trinidad and Tobago. The former Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley, conceded, admitted on camera, live interview, that he interfered with a merit list that involved the President of the Republic, that unfortunate lady, Paula May Weeks, who I admired as the first Black woman in that position. I call her an example to our young Black girls and young women in Trinidad and Tobago. He, in my opinion, bullied his way into the president's office and took away a merit list, which by the Constitution should have been brought before Parliament. He admitted the headlines of the newspapers, I have it in my mind. He said, it was me. And still we had people in Trinidad and Tobago refusing to believe that this gentleman broke the law, misbehaved in public office, and interfered with a merit list. They refused to believe. So I think we're seeing that same phenomena up the islands, where people have become so partisan in their approach to even the truth that is presented before them. They have become so partisan that it obstructs. This does not augur well for nation building.
That's correct.
My people. It does not augur well for nation building. This is a very dangerous thing that has occurred. You see where things has reached in some European countries, in America, in a lot of places around the world, where the partisan nature of the thinking of our citizens, where truth becomes just like an annoyance, like an obstruction. It does not help with nation building and in advancing our democracy. And I'll leave you with that. I thank you, Reverend, so much for your intervention. It was excellent. Marsha, for an excellent show. I wish you all the best. I'm not Bajan, but I'm Bajan in my heart. My most beloved cricketer of all time was the great Garfield Sobers. To me, he's the best ever, the best example of a Caribbean statesman, gentleman, as well as Sir Frank Worrell. So I love the Bajan people. I love Barbados, and I wish you all the best. And I look forward to seeing you. Love in the house all the time.
Yes, thank you so much, Senator NAKHID, for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure. And please don't stay away this long anymore.
I would have to say that I consider myself to be a Trini Barlution, because I lived in Trinidad for 3 years. Much of my ministry stomping with Dr. Williams has been Trinidad, and my wife is from St. Lucia, so I have that citizenship in all three countries, and I have absolutely enjoyed Trinidad and Tobago. Absolutely.
Wow. You are a true example of a Caribbean man.
Thank you so much.
Good night, Senator.
Good
night.
Good seeing you again.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Well, and we have Apostle Scantlebury joining us. And before he says anything else, Dave, if you can get ready to put up for us while you're putting up the last part of Senator ANIL Roberts. Let's play that part. But let me just get a few words in there from Apostle. Apostle, good evening. I'm not sure if you've heard about the Brent Thomas case, how much you heard. We were just looking at the actual judgments we had here on the program. So while Dave look for that section, Dave, the last part of ANIL Roberts, let's hear from the Apostle. Go right ahead, Apostle.
Well, pleasant good night to you again, Madam Weeks, and Rev, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, sir. Good
yes,
to
sir.
see you.
Yes, sir. Listen, I've been watching this closely since Prime Minister Kamla would have made her declarations during the recently held CARICOM Summit. You know, a lot of people have been saying a lot of negative things about it, that, you know, wasn't the time and the place and all that kind of stuff. But my opinion is it's the right place to speak about those things if you're talking about CARICOM integration. And this is an unfortunate situation. And I'll tell you the truth, if our Prime Minister does not find the courage to tell the truth, this government is going down the hill very, very quickly. And it's unfortunate that we have this situation where the RSS plane landed here in Barbados with Trinidad policemen on it, linked with our own policemen here in Barbados, went to that man's hotel, extracted him from the hotel in such a horrific and disrespectful and degrading manner, kept him without food, took him back to Trinidad. And where's, you know, people are saying, oh, you know, the way how people are speaking about it. But, you know, we have to know that somebody has to give clearance for that plane to land in any one of our countries here in the Caribbean. Someone has to give the authority for, you know, police forces from a neighboring country to come into Barbados and carry out some form of act, some form of duty, then to be joined by our forces in obviously a situation that they did not get all of the intelligence on is horrible. And for our Prime Minister to be caught in the middle of it and to not be open to the public about what is happening in relation to this situation is horrific. We had a similar situation with the migrant case, and
yes,
a lot of us didn't realize what was happening until we found out we were paying her $2.2 million out of our own taxpayers' money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to spiral into something that is very devastating for the Barbadian people, for the Mottley administration, and for any individual that was connected in any way to that case that are, you know, in Barbados. But this is going down the hill in a very, very serious way. I think the time has come for the Prime Minister to, you know, she's talking about strong leadership. This is the time for her to show whether or not this can be a reality. Can the Barbados Labour Party and can Prime Minister Mottley show strong leadership in this season? We want to find out exactly what is going to be the fee, because this case is already closed as far as from listening to the different comments and individuals, including the gentleman that you have on the screen right now. I listened to his entire speech. I mean, Barbadians are going to be shocked at this, because this, again, is going to be $1 million lawsuit. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Apostle. Dave, can we just play the last part? And then we're going to jump right in again, Apostle and Dr. Ferdinand. Go right ahead.
You are a lawyer. Well, what is the paperwork required for such an intentional arrest, detention, and deportation? Was this paperwork made available to your government? If not, then isn't it fair to describe what took place as a kidnapping? If there was no paperwork, didn't follow the laws of natural justice, the law, legality, can police officers from a foreign jurisdiction simply alight on a sovereign territory of the people of Barbados and conduct police operations? If not, what is the executive permission required so to do? And was this permission granted by your government as you are the executive? Does the Barbados Constabulary have the power to grant this executive authority to conduct operations on Barbados soil to foreign actors? Is that possible? Or is it only you and your government who could do that? If not, who in your government gave the green light? Was it you, Honorable Prime Minister? Was it you? Can Barbados constabulary officers book a flight on a CARICOM Impact jet to go to Trinidad and Tobago to arrest a Bajan citizen staying at the Hyatt without the requisite paperwork, international warrants, or extradition documents? Is that possible? If this was done, would you deem this unlawful denial of freedom, illegal capture and detention, and removal from one sovereign territory to another? Would you deem that or describe that as a kidnapping, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley? Who in the Trinidad and Tobago government made the request of your government to authorize the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service operation in Barbados, on Barbados soil? Who in your government received that request, okayed that request, and gave permission for the Barbados Constabulary to work side by side with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the kidnapping of Brent Thomas? Who in your government did that? And if so, has that office holder been fired or dealt with by you as yet? Do you join with Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, in calling on CARICOM and the CARICOM Secretariat for full disclosure on the Brent Thomas issue? She's been asking for years, yet there is a cloak of silence and secrecy. Try to say it like Rowley, but I can't. That's your friend, eh? When the story broke, as you said, and Keith Rowley rushed to Barbados a few days later to meet with Keith Rowley, the then Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, if you did, was it a private, intimate meeting, closed door, secret meeting, or are there minutes that could be made public of that meeting? Or did you not meet him at all? Was it just a coincidence that he went to Barbados as soon as the Barbados story with Brent Thomas broke, when the judgment came out? How much money has the government of Barbados agreed to pay to compensate or to settle with Brent Thomas? If that's not complete yet, how much do you envisage the people of Barbados having to pay Brent Thomas for this non-kidnapping, this defamatory comment by Justice Devendra Rampersad? How much? So why would Barbados taxpayers have to pay a man if everything was A-okay, if all the paperwork and everything was normal and this is not a serious issue? Finally, Honorable Amor Mottley, if the TTPS misled you, your Barbados police officers, causing them to misbehave in public office, embarrass the proud sovereign nation of Barbados, has an investigation been launched in Barbados? If not, why not, Honorable Prime Minister? Over to you since you're talking. Bless. Doubles and coffee. Yeah. Honorable Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley.
Yeah. Wow. Dr. Ferdinand, very, very, very strong there. Very strong.
I took the liberty, Marcia, to look up the aspect of treaties between Barbados and Trinidad in terms of this matter. I have not been able to find a specific treaty with regards to extraditions between the two countries. However, there is an arrest warrant treaty in CARICOM, between CARICOM states. And in the context of that, the warrant has to be issued by the Attorney General. And I'm gathering the information from my research. The CARICOM arrest warrant treaty was adopted to facilitate arrest and surrender of persons wanted for prosecution or to serve sentences among CARICOM states, including Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago. And it goes on to make the point that while this exists, it is, and I quote, Barbados' Extradition Act allows surrender of fugitive even when no treaty exists if conditions are met and the Attorney General issues a warrant. The question has to be, was all of this done? And from what I am observing in the case which you placed before us, it would appear that it was not.
You know, I tell you that, you know, I was saying, Apostle, that I realize that people are so, you know, caught up in, they've created this I don't know, I wouldn't even call it God. I don't know what it is, of this prime minister.
Yeah.
And they just, it's like they get up in the morning and they just look, when they look up and they just look at her. And, you know, they're just overcome by her power. I don't know what this is all about, that we are to believe that she can do no wrong. And
Solid.
as the more if you get, I can send you this document, the more you read it, you realize that, wow, you know, here we go again. And, you know, one of you made mention of the Myrie case. When it was that, I want people to go back and look at Amor Mottley in opposition and how she dealt with that when the other government made an error with the Myrie case and had to pay her a whole lot of money. You know, we look at that. But over to you, Apostle.
Well, I honestly, I have no problems with Prime Minister Bissessar asking for accountability. And I think it's ridiculous that the CARICOM Secretariat, even while she was the opposition leader, didn't respond to her. And she mentioned since 2022, this is now 2026, she's taken the leadership, the reins of leadership of Trinidad again, and still no response from the CARICOM Secretariat. And so that says a lot. And she said that, you know, it's difficult to come to a meeting like this and then they're expecting everyone to hug and embrace and be chummy. So we have a situation where, again, we can see that our Prime Minister, excuse me, is not open with the public about this situation. And it is already, for those individuals who have understanding, it is already a huge embarrassment for our country. It is a major embarrassment. And the parties that are involved in this, and you heard what Rev said just a few moments ago, that the person that has to give the order and the instruction for this to happen is the Attorney General. So did our Attorney General give permission for police forces from Trinidad to land in Barbados? Did that happen? And I think the more that this is delved into, the more and more it's going to look horrible for Barbados. Is going to look bad for the Barbados Labour Party. It's going to look horrible for this administration, and it's going to look horrible for Amor Mottley. But you mentioned something just now that is very critical. I think what Amor Mottley rode on for the longest time was the love of Barbadians. Okay, and not only within the public domain, but also within the church domain. And a lot of people felt that, you know, this was her opportunity to show Barbados that she was, you know, the consummate leader. And now we're seeing the cracks in the party. We're seeing where they have to bring all of these bills to stop, you know, persons from crossing the floor. So we're not seeing leadership, we're seeing dictatorship. And it's unraveling, and we're seeing the cracks, the huge cracks that are within this party. And I don't think that in 2026, I don't think they have enough to do damage control anymore. So this is going to spiral into something that is going to demand that Prime Minister Mottley shows strong leadership for changing times. And it's very critical right now for Barbadians to brace themselves, because those people who have fell in love with Amor Mottley and they treat her and pretend as though she is some god in the realm of the heavens or the spirit. I'm sorry for them, but their hearts are going to hurt them in a very short space of time.
Yes. And I saw where someone was saying that I read the judgment wrongly. Well, even if I read that section wrongly about the conceding, I would say to Barbadians, go back and check the what Dale Marshall said when he was Attorney General. Check the newspapers. And I'm going to bring it for you on, God willing, on Sunday, where he admitted on the floor of the House that Barbados had done something legally wrong in cooperating with its T&T counterparts in sending the arrested person back to T&T. The point is this, that Barbados agreed.
Yes. Yeah.
even if it is not
Pretty much.
in this document. All right, because I like to be truthful in what I'm saying. Even if it is not in this document, go and all you've got to do and search. Go back and search where they agreed. Barbados agreed that what they had done was illegally wrong. They had gone too far in cooperating with Trinidad. We show you from this document the warrants were illegally obtained. In fact, there's a section, I could ask Dave to show it. Let me try and find it, where it said, Dr. Ferdinand, that the warrants were actually backdated. The warrants were the same warrants that the Prime Minister was saying that they were legal. Nothing was wrong with the warrants, right? That I'm going to find that. But go ahead and make your comment, Dr. Ferdinand. And while you're doing that, we want to also remind our viewers that they can call in. The number is there. This is your time to call in. Okay, go right ahead, Dr. Ferdinand.
You know, the challenging thing, Marcia, is that you can hardly have persons who are not citizens of Barbados come into this country and do anything without some type of documentation.
Mm-hmm.
Even to speak in a conference, Marcia, I was advised when I led the session here with Reverend Benny Hinn that I needed to get a work permit for him to speak, just to speak. And it puzzles me how we are engaging a highly legal matter, and this is very, very serious. I don't know if people think this is a joke or if they're taking it lightly because of who it is. But it is a very serious matter. I wonder if the shoe was on the other foot, Marcia, what the people would be saying tonight. Suppose we had gone into Trinidad and done what they have come in here and done, and Trinidad responded in the manner that we have responded. I wonder how Barbadians would feel and what would be the comment to Barbadians. I believe you have a call coming in.
Yes, we do. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Blessed good night to everyone on the panel.
Yes, sir. Good to hear you.
There was a time where I was not interested at all in what was going on in the country, even politically. Things just used to go over my head. I just live like an ordinary citizen and just have things just put in place without any concern to what goes on. But since I started educating myself to the goings-ons of the country, the more frustrated I became to see the kind of wickedness and the wicked system that I am a part of. You know, I've been listening to the Prime Minister of Trinidad trying to get into the head of our Prime Minister that she ought not to be involving herself in the affairs of another sovereign country. And I agree with her because she said at some point in time, you are going to be the opposition. Just like how I was the opposition. You know, there is a dangerous thing going on here that I believe we should be looking at. Now, you see, when two prime ministers get together and make certain agreements, you know, and then they get, they're not elected, it leaves now the persons who was the opposition to come and clean up the mess that prime minister made.
Yes.
No, our prime minister is not answering a charge that a former prime minister of another sovereign country was responsible for.
Right.
Since there, I believe both of them were security, the head of security in their own states, right? But the tables have turned now. So the opposition have now taken over to be security, and they're asking what happened here, and nobody wants to come up with a reasonable explanation as to what happened, because the person who you support, who was responsible for the whole thing happening, has now become an opposition. Now I am saying that we have got to be very careful, and we have to pay more attention to what is going on in our country when we put our elected leaders to operate on our behalf. Because if you're operating on our behalf and then you're going to support another party, because of color and all sorts of things, so then I believe that you are not working for the people. So I'm saying the more I am involving myself in what is going on around me, I'm making myself more aware of what is happening. I have to be more concerned about the leadership of all leadership. So I'm saying to us as Barbadians, do not sit down and wait for things to happen. You have to be a part of things happening. And that is my thing for tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir, before you go, let me ask you. Did you hear that the that very controversial bill concerning the amendment to the Constitution about the crossing of the floor, where the Prime Minister is stopping people from us from having an opposition really in Parliament, that is actually passed today in the Senate. So that means the bill is passed. Have you heard about that?
Yes, I heard about it.
Wow. Just curious. And what are your thoughts? I mean, did you hear that the Barbados Bar Association says that there's a real problem with this bill?
No, Marcel, what I believe our representatives fail to understand, right, is that the same bridge that you are looking to burn, you are going to need that same bridge to cross later on down the road. I remember a certain minister was involved in passing a bill concerning after 5 years, an unmarried woman or whatever would be able to have the same rights as the married one. And tables turn. You know what I mean? We know what happened to Haman. So I think that these ministers who decide that they're going to pass certain laws to prevent people from exercising their right to cross wherever they want to, cross roads or whatever, you got to be very careful that when it comes your turn, that you are not found wanting. Dr. Rogers, he made a very interesting statement when he said something pertaining to all that it slipped me just now. Anyhow, he actually hit the nail on the head. We have to be representing our constituents as opposed to representing party. So I'm saying that, watch the laws that you're passing, because they can come and pass you and upset you, the same way how you're trying to whatever,
Yeah. Very well said. Thank you, caller. Appreciate the call. Thank you. Hi. Who's that?
Hi. I will tell you.
Who am I speaking to?
I will tell you.
How are you doing? I saw you in your pretty suit. Mataya, you are the one in your pretty suit, African suit?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You like wearing African suits?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you wear that to school today? Let me see if I can find it and send it to Dave. Did you wear it to school today?
Yeah.
And did people like it?
Yeah.
Wow, you look like a king. Dave, if you see look on your WhatsApp. Oh my Lord, you need to see him in the suit, people. Messiah is his name?
Yeah, Rakayo Messiah.
Rakaya. I knew I was saying it wrong. Rakaya. That's what I remember, you know. Rakaya. Little Rakaya. Where do you go to school? Where do you go to school, Rakaya?
Where you go to school?
Yeah. Actually, me too.
Primary school.
You go to primary school?
That's a politically correct answer.
What's the name of the primary school? All right.
Okay, Auntie Marcia.
All righty then. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. I got to get one of them suits, man. I got to get one of them suits.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's the Rakaya. It is African. It's African garb, and you know that's why we do these shows. I know he watches the show with his granddad, and he's been on some of the marches. But this is so the next generation. Whatever we do, it's so the next generation. We educate, we motivate, we mobilize, and we agitate. This is so the next generation. Yes. Well, you know, Apostle.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things, you know, I mean, today, right here in our country, this controversial bill has been passed.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and all that is left is for it to be signed, to be proclaimed by the president, who, as far as we remember, was a BLP member of parliament.
Precisely.
You understand? And we don't know. We don't know if he's resigned from the party. We know that he's no longer an MP. But that is and I make no bones about it. I said on this show when you were, you know, cutting up against him, I said on this show, I'm going to give him some time.
Yeah.
I gave him the time, and in my mind, this is a president who I don't know. I'm not convinced that he's left the Barbados Labour Party.
Yeah.
And here is a bill that the Barbados Labour Party Senate, you have to say that with about 3 or 4 people who are not, right? Along with a full lower house, a BLP. This seems like this bill is going to be proclaimed in no time. Your thoughts there, Apostle?
Well, first of all, other than the independent senators in the House and those who have moral understanding and obligation to Barbados, the Senate does not, this particular Senate that we have does not serve the people of Barbados. They serve Amor Mottley. And that's all it is. Okay? They do not serve the people of Barbados, because if they serve the people of Barbados, they would know how stupid this bill is. Okay? Now, this can be sorted very easily, Madam Reeds, on the level of a party. If you have a member that no longer agrees with the party and they want to move on from the party, the simple thing is for the Prime Minister, the leader of the party, to go back to that constituency, have a meeting in that constituency with their supporters, tell them the person you elected and is now your representative no longer wants to continue with the party. Then you explain to the people what are the reasons, or what is the reason, or what are the reasons that this person no longer wants to continue with the party, and give the person the opportunity to speak to the constituents, to share with them whatever their grievances are in relation to why they want to move on from the party. That would have settled that whole issue. There was no need to come and change the constitution to sort out an in-house matter. For the House to agree shows you the stupidity of these people. And for the upper house to agree, again, shows you that these people don't serve Barbados. These people serve Amor Mottley. And the question I want to ask, what happens if 3 or 4 persons at one time wants to move on from the party because they find out that this party is not what it was trumped up to be prior to the elections. What will happen then? Are we going to have 4 separate by elections and disturb the public like that? So what we are dealing with are individuals that they have no moral obligation to Barbados. They have no professional obligation to Barbados and Barbadians. They're only obligated to Amor Mottley and making sure that she does not have any opposition whatsoever. I made it abundantly clear that I have not, as a citizen of Barbados born here, I made it abundantly clear I have not and I will not accept Mr. Bostic as my president. I'm not going to disrespect him, but I make it abundantly clear I have not accepted him as my president. Neither have I accepted Ms. Mottley as my prime minister. And I make that clear as a citizen of Barbados. Okay? So one of the things that we must come to a realization of is we elect these people to serve us. Nobody is elected as a minister of anything. Every person is elected as the representative of their constituency. And any bill that comes to Parliament that does not properly allow you to represent your people, you should say no to it. So the mere fact that all of these people say yes to this bill, they have no plans on representing their constituents or their constituencies. The other problem that I seriously have with them is that we have 27 ministers and still 8 persons who ran in an election and won their seats who are backbenchers. 8 persons. So we have 30 constituencies, but 35 persons who are being paid by this administration. Something is wrong with that mathematics. So when you look at the way how this is structured now, it is structured to make sure that Ms. Mottley has no opposition whatsoever. So you were right in what you said. I don't have any statement from Mr. Bostic actually resigning from the party. I have no actual statement from Mr. Sinclair resigning from the Barbados Labour Party. I have none of that. And we're talking about strong leadership for changing times. So this bill, to me, demonstrates the literal stupidity of this administration and the construction of those who make up the upper house. I listened to some of these statements that were being made, utter rubbish. I don't know how some of those folk got up in there anyway to be classified as a senator. Their contributions was just a waste of time and a waste of space. So what we are seeing here is, again, the despotism moving from the lower house and affecting the upper house. And we're going to have to deal with this no matter what. And again, it's going to be a time for the Barbadian public to band together and get up and push back at these bills, because they reflect what we allow these people to do with us as a nation if we don't come together as a people and realize that we need to stop Barbados from spiraling down the hill and going further and further into a state of desecration. So, you know, I'm not in favor of this, because this could have been handled at the level of the party, and we did not have to change our constitution to match the desires of a person who knows she's lied to many of those that she used to assume power in Barbados again and promised them many things. And now she has shown them that she's not a woman to her word, and she's afraid of those individuals rising up and saying, I'm finished with Ms. Mottley, I'm finished with the Barbados Labour Party, I'm finished with what this administration is doing to Barbados and Barbadians. That's what she's afraid of.
Okay. Can you hear me, Dr. Ferdinand?
You're very low. Your volume level is very low, but I can hear you.
All right, caller, you will have to call back. Can you call back? Please call. Can you hear the caller?
Yeah, I can.
No, I think you're very low.
You're hearing the caller very low. So caller, Caller, just call us back. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Dr. Ferdinand. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
you're loud. You're loud and clear.
Okay. The caller's here.
Yes.
Yes. Good night. Go ahead, caller.
Let's say good night again. I just remembered what the point that Dr. Rogers made. 30-0 can be wrong. The majority can be wrong. And the point that he made was, suppose that that 30 people was taking the country down the wrong road. No, sorry, those 20 people was taking the country down the wrong road, and one person out of conscience decided that they were not going to get on the bandwagon to take the country down the wrong road. Would that person be turned, or would that person be expelled, all because they decided that they're, in one instance will be termed as opposition? So he said the point that he was making was that we have this thing that the majority rules, but the majority could be wrong. So I think that's the point that he was making. So one person could make a difference. Just how we can make a difference, even though there's 30 mil. So that's what that I was trying to do.
Yes. Thank you, caller. Thank you. Is it Dr. Ferdinand was speaking? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the person. Go ahead, Dr. Ferdinand.
No, that's fine, Marcia. It's interesting, Apostle, in terms of what the Barbados Bar Association has indicated.
Yes.
These are I call them the legal luminaries in Barbados. They are not Johnny come latelys. They are not, new graduates out of UE. These are people who have practiced law, constitutional law, and all types of law for some time in Barbados. And the fact that they were not even involved in the consultation should trouble every single Barbadian.
Yes, sir.
That's the first point.
Great point.
I also believe that, and Marcia, I continue to run into Barbadians who did not know that the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party are not registered entities in this country. When you go into Parliament, you go into Parliament as the representative of a constituency, not a party. I appreciate what the Prime Minister says in terms of the party being contributory to your success. And nobody will deny the cultural aspect, as you pointed out, I think, on Wednesday, Marcia, the cultural aspect that bears in terms of an election. However, is it possible that, Apostle Marcia, that on being elected to Parliament in the future, that parliamentarians should be required to resign from their parties and only represent their constituencies? You do not represent a party. There are 30 independent members of Parliament. In Parliament, there is only government and opposition. There is no BLP or DLP. And so for the Prime Minister, and I stand by what I say, for the Prime Minister to introduce a bill that seeks to penalize, and I have the transcript. I have the transcript of Ms. Brown's speech, and she referred to a document called the Commonwealth Latimer House Principle, and I encourage people to do their due diligence. That principle speaks to the liberty and freedom that members of Parliament should have in order to ensure the security of democracy and judicial processes and justice and accountability. And I want to say this, Marcia, I made a couple of notes while everything has been going on as to how many people that I recall having crossed the floor, and Dr. Brown commented about this, how many people, how the country has benefited, how the political process has benefited in Barbados. You had people like Hamilton Lashley, that crossed the floor, I think, twice. Bishop Adderley, Mr. Thorne, Mr. Arthur, and you know, Ms. Mottley herself has benefited from the prerogative of being able to cross the floor.
Yes.
Yeah, but she didn't cross the floor, though. She left. She went from one party to the next, right?
So what do you call that, Marcia? That's
She
what
changed.
she's
Yeah,
saying.
she changed allegiance.
That's
I just
what
wanted
she
to be
is.
clear that she didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, we're playing semantics. That's what she was able to do because there was no legislation then. And having done it, are you saying now that you want to shut down that potential that you benefited from? And I think that is disingenuous. And I believe that if persons are brought to the stage where the ability to represent their people in parliament is threatened in the context of them being concerned about a particular documentation, legislation, direction, or anything of that nature, and they voice a disagreement, and if that disagreement causes them, and I remember Mr. Thorne speaking about the fact that when your moral conscience, his moral conscience was challenged in the context of what he was doing. When that happens, a person has to choose a moral position, and to penalize an individual for that, because I call it penalization, that is what it appears to me, I think is very disingenuous.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm very I was able to see that Ryan Walters he gave his presentation today, and we are grateful that Senator Rogers, Senator Reverend Rogers,
Yes.
he did a brilliant job as well, and we are being told as well that the FOD senator that she didn't sign as well, and we want to commend them. But where we would like to know what happened to the rest of these independent senators. And this is the discussion that we were having on the show, that it didn't seem that independent to us. I mean, when you have Jamal Slocum, who took most of his presentation to most of them, most of the BLP persons in there, they chastised Mr. Thorne, and so did he, because again, is he BLP? Because we have seen him at the BLP events. I mean, and he wasn't there. He wasn't there recording. He wasn't there in any role as any. I saw him in the at the Chad Blackman at his when he had the parties and so on down there in St. James. I saw Jamal Slocum there. He wasn't doing any kind of journalistic work. He wasn't doing anything. You used to be on Starcom as a moderator. Because why? They were preparing him for the Senate. Is this now the place that they send you to when they're preparing you for public office? And he was on that calling program that I don't listen to anymore because it serves the government. So did we expect him to go in there and be independent? Did anybody expect Jamal Slocum to go inside there and be independent?
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
You
go
see,
ahead and wait on a call. Guys, remember that the phone lines are open. The phone line is open, and you can go ahead and call. Thank you. Go ahead.
Apostle, please.
Yes, sir.
No, I thought you were going to make a comment.
I agree with Marcia, honestly, because I've not seen any of these individuals that are there, and in terms of their presence with the Barbados Labour Party, it was very clear in listening sometimes to brass tacks. It was very, very clear when persons are being disconnected and persons are being marginalized and things are being said, especially when things don't sound like they favor the Barbados Labour Party. They're being mistreated on those shows. And I think it's very wrong when you have a program that is supposed to be non-biased, but it favors many times what one particular party wants said. And it's almost like the media in Barbados. The media in Barbados favors the Barbados Labour Party. The things that should come to the public that and many times blocked from coming to the public. I mean, even in recent times, they have this letter that was brought to the public's domain. There was a letter circulating with the fact that the staff at the hospital, they have not received their monies. I think today was the day they were supposed to receive their monies. A lot of teachers did not receive their monies either. None of this hit the media. None of it hit the media.
Yeah.
So we're seeing where in Barbados everything is moving towards favoring the Barbados Labour Party, favoring Amor Mottley, and it's almost like there's this big hand on everything that should allow the public to know what's going on. And again, we're seeing that the construction of the network that is in Barbados right now is designed to keep the public in a state of ignorance and allow the Barbados Labour Party to have freedom of movement, whether through the Senate or through the Parliament or through the EBC or whatever entity they have their hands on. It's designed now that there's no opposition. There's only freedom of movement to whatever they want to do, and that spells danger for Barbados going forward as a nation.
Yes. There's something that I said earlier that I believe I need to correct, Dave. And if we can, I'm going to tell you where there's a section that I said that proved that the government had conceded, but instead it's not that. It's that the state that they referred to there was Trinidad. Okay, so I want to be very, very clear because I was reading from a legal document, and I want to be very clear about what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Where I can show you that the government, that Barbados said yes, we did something wrong, was when the then Attorney General spoke in our Parliament here. In Barbados and also in newspaper, in some other media, and I would bring that to you on Sunday. But yes, our government did say we were wrong. But the part that I showed you, this section, this is wrong. Okay, I want to say that I read this wrongly. That it was not the state. It's not Barbados here. They're referred to. No. All right. They're referring to Trinidad here. Okay, so let's clarify that. And I think it's important that we, in everything we're doing, that, even though we all know that they conceded. The Kamla has said that, so has ANIL Roberts, and we heard that here in Barbados. So I'll bring that for you, God willing, on Sunday night. Okay. But this segment did not say that. Now, Mr. Colin Roach made an important point here. Let's go back to the Bar Association. And I took off the comment, Mr. Colin, by mistake, where he said there's something that they said that was very alarming to me as well, where the BBA said that they truncated the order paper. Did you all see that part? Dave, can you help me to? Thank you. Can you go up a little bit for me, Dave? Thank you so much. Any further? Okay. They said the BBA is also concerned that the standing orders were suspended they didn't truncate the order paper. I'm sorry. The standing orders were suspended to truncate debate on this bill. Despite there being no demonstrable urgency to justify such a measure. That is very, very important. I agree with Polly. When I read that, I really jumped at that, Apostle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because had the standing orders gone out, then there would have been more discussion and more debate.
Yes.
See, but they suspended, according to the BBA, to Barbados, do you realize this? Let that just rest. Let that rest with us a little bit there.
Yes. Yeah.
That is very serious, Dr. Ferdinand.
It is. It is.
Well, it should tell us all what the intention of the bill is. And by extension, I would dare say it might reflect, and as you know, Marcia, we have to be careful what we say here. I said it might. I don't know. It might reflect the intention of the Barbados Labour Party leadership.
Yes.
During her presentation, Marcia, Dr. Brown referred to something I mentioned a moment ago called the Latimer, let me get it right, the Commonwealth Latimer House Principle.
Yes.
And in that principle, the legislature or parliament must be able to operate freely. Secondly, to hold the executive accountable. Thirdly, protect minority voices. And fourthly, ensure proper scrutiny of legislation. Now, Barbados, let me be careful, as a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, Barbados is expected to uphold these principles. This becomes exceptionally relevant when considering constitutional amendments. So that Barbados, by virtue of the fact that she's a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, Barbados is expected to ensure that the members of parliament are able to operate, and hear the word, freely. And they are to hold the executive being the government, which would be the cabinet and the prime minister, accountable.
Right.
And to protect minority voices. This is the Commonwealth Latimer principles that Barbados is a signatory to through the Commonwealth and is committed to upholding these principles. Can anyone tell me on the presentation of this bill if what I have just read to you in my research has been upheld? Can anyone tell me that?
Wow, profound. Go ahead, Apostle. I'm just reminding people, I know everybody seems to be listening tonight, that you can call in if you have any thoughts, any questions, something that we said that you want to clarify, you want to add something, what's on your mind. We do have how many minutes? 7 minutes. Go ahead, Apostle. And then,
I completely agree with what Rev said there. And I want to go back and, the aspect of, I want to bring this in here. I listened to, read what the president said about sleepless nights in terms of making a decision for the independent or opposition senators. I mean, how do you have sleepless nights over that? And then you have Mr. Allen from the EBC who lied to Barbadians, and you don't have a problem making him a senator when he lied.
So we have to say who we have to say allegedly. We don't know. We can't say.
No, he was in the media saying the list was ready. Then
I see what you're saying. And so, in your opinion, that was not the truth. Yes,
that's not the truth. If you're going to have a week later, Mr. Sturgeon is going to come and say the list is ready, then it could not have been ready when he said it was ready.
Makes sense.
No. And from what we've seen during the election, the list wasn't ready from her perspective either. Okay, so how do you not lose sleep over someone who lied to the country? There's no issue in making him a senator, but you have a problem with the Barbados Labour Party when in terms of the flow of how it works, two persons being put forward. As a president, I would want the best minds in the Senate as opposition senators to represent the people. I would want the best minds in there. I would not play games with that. But again, what we are seeing is that this administration has chosen to dabble with the Constitution and play games with the Constitution like this is snakes and ladders. But I'm honestly at the point to ask them, why this was so rushed, and why wasn't the public brought in? Why wasn't there public opinion? Why wasn't there town hall meetings about this matter when it involves the representatives of the constituencies? Why was that not done? So again, it goes to show you that this is, again, the Mottley Show. This is not about the people of Barbados. This is not about strong leadership. This is simply what I want and putting every person in place to make sure that what I want done is what I want done. It's like a gang leader and a drug dealer all in one, controlling the country. And I love one thing that Solomon said. He said, never make a slave a king. In other words, do not allow someone with a slave mentality to be a ruler. And unfortunately, we're seeing that Barbados is moving in a direction where the mentality is what we're seeing displayed in public on the international scene. You know, even with that video where you could have said, I'm not really disposed at this moment to make a comment. You know, you said, you know, I on my way to a meeting, I can't talk. No, I don't talk before me. You see that type of, that, you know, again, we're going to continue to see this type of display going forward because Barbadians are going to finally see for themselves what and who we have elected, and this whole administration is going to display what this system is really all about. And we're going to find out that it's not about Barbados and it's not about the people of Barbados.
Yes. And thank you, Michael Nurse, for spotting that. He's saying that Mr. Allen, this is the former EBC commissioner, is a government senator and would have been put there by the Prime Minister. And that's why, thank you, Michael, for that. That's why, I mean, and that there's a huge red flag there. More than a red flag. It is speaking to us. But I mentioned something that Colin had mentioned on the show in the comment section, and it's bothering me. And I just want to say this. I know we're getting ready to close, but I want you to see how important what they did in suspending the standing order, right? I think the suspending the standing order, of course, you know, it's within the power of the House to do it, right? So we're not here saying that they did not have the right to do it. But look at the environment that we're in. We're in an environment where there are 30 of them in the House, right? In the lower house. Think about it. Is this a time to be suspending standing orders when you have to look at the purpose of a standing order, which we need to look at that one of these nights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the standing order, the purpose of it is that it exists so that you can structure debate about whatever bill is coming up, right? And you can use the standing order through the debates to protect any kind of minority voices, right? And so when you are going to suspend the standing order in an environment like this, it becomes you are telling us something.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are in a one-party parliament. Yeah. You are telling us something. It is very political. It is insensitive, Madam PM. It is wicked. And we're just getting, it's 10 o'clock, but I don't know. I'm so fired up about this. We already have limited, counterbalances already. We already have that. Everybody can see that, Madam PM. And it makes you look power hungry. Right? You don't want any debate?
No.
This is one of the few, in terms of the parliament, remaining, accountability tools that we have. So you are shortening the debate so that you can reduce scrutiny, visible scrutiny. And then people want to know why we're talking about dictatorship, why we're talking about despotism. It is this. It is right before our eyes. The Barbados Bar Association told us.
Yeah.
And then they come and they say, oh, you're all making up things on the show, and you're all talking about despot, and you're all talking about dictator. But why would you do that? Wow.
Marcia, if I could make a closing comment. Is it possible that this country is under a spell? A spell that has originated in a location in Africa after our sovereign flag was lowered into a grave and libations were poured on it and incantations said over it? I'm asking the question. You know, Bishop, Apostle.
Yes, sir.
I read in the book of Daniel, chapter 4, and I can't help but parallel King Nebuchadnezzar's walk upon his royal palaces, on the open of his royal palace, and indicating, look at this. Barbados is great. He boasted, and I built it all by myself. A royal palace adequate to display my honor and glory. The words no sooner out of his mouth than a voice out of heaven spoke. This is the verdict on you, King Nebuchadnezzar. Your kingdom is taken from you. And you will be driven out of human company and live with the wild animals. You will eat grass like an ox. You know, I've always said that the Bible is 2020 vision. We can look back and we can understand it. But in those days, in that instance, politically, it might not have sounded that way. But I'm beginning to wonder if it's not sounding like how we are hearing it sounded today. And one of the responsibilities of yourself, Apostle, myself, and for many of you who do not know, that the young lady sitting in front of you is an ordained minister. One of our duties is, like the sons of Issachar, to understand the times and tell the people what to do.
Yes, sir.
And if you look up the activity of the sons of Issachar, they were involved both politically and economically.
That's
they
correct.
were not preachers. They were people who were involved in the governance of the country.
They're the wise men.
That is correct.
Yes,
and
sir.
We sit here not in judgment of anyone, but our responsibility is to test the spiritual climate, to identify the anomalies that exist, to expose them, and in so doing, to bring righteousness and justice to the people of our country. That is our duty.
Thank you, Rev, and I think you've done
Yes,
your closing statement until Sunday,
That's
because
correct.
there's so many things happening on Sunday. We're going to be talking. I'm going to continue this here about this standing order.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
going to not leave this. And on Sunday, we want to look at the budget. There is a proposed budget. The numbers are there, and we've started to break it down. Ms. McLean will be on with us, and we'll get I wish I could get another accountant with us, and we go through it and look at the budget. We're going to do and look at even the closing of the different businesses that are closing in Barbados. We haven't even had a chance to touch on that as yet, but on Sunday we're going to want to go down into those issues there. The budget that is coming up,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
we don't have a Mr. Thorne in there. As I said, they all that they did to ensure that he wasn't there, but they're going to be
Yeah.
so sorry
They got
as is happening now. And when you speak of it the last time, you have the very last word. I would say, Dr. Ferdinand, one of the reasons we're doing this luncheon It's because of what happened in the Senate today, where even the leader of business in the Senate, Lisa, what's her last name?
Cummins.
Lisa Cummins, who has never run for anything. She has been given a lot of favors, I would say. She has sung for her supper. Lisa has sung for her supper and has never done well over any ministry. She is a waste of a space as a senator and as a minister. And that's what I'm saying. It's my opinion. I watch her. I know of her work before she went in there, and there's nothing she's done. Tourism, she made a mess of it. She went over business and made a mess. You have not left any memorable policies or implemented anything, Lisa Cummins. However, you could state that you went down to St. John and you were campaigning against Mr. Thorne. That's such a pity. You've never ran for one thing, but you are there reaping the benefits of the money and the power and that you feel that's going to your head and making you giddy, Lisa Cummins. That you would leave your house and go to campaign against Mr. Thorne in St. John.
St. John,
and, yeah,
pretty much.
That's what she said that she did. I think the effort that you had put in that, you should have used it in your ministry and make something sensible of what you were asked to do, to carry out your task. You were the worst minister of tourism. I'll carry on this on Sunday with you, Lisa Cummins. Me, I am doing it. I'm saying it. So when you're ready to sing, you talk to me, not these gentlemen on here. I am saying, in my opinion, you are the worst minister of tourism. That's why they demoted you. Remember, the energy you had in St. John. If you could show that in even half of that in your ministry, you would have left something that we could talk about and say, "Great job, Lisa Cummins." No, but you have decided to remain in there as a yes person to carry the bag behind Miss Mottley and to help her up the stairs and to do her bidding. That's what you have done. That's why you went down there to do all that you did. And it's one of the reasons why it is so important to appreciate the candidates. I went off on that because I want to say it is for us to recognize the candidates and to say thank you, because they've had to endure the ridicule, the scorn of this government in the lower house, in the Senate. They're not talking about the bill; they're talking about the DLP.
Right. Yeah.
And so there is a luncheon that is planned for the DLP. In fact, she praised the person, the opposition senator from the Freedom of Friends of Democracy, right? So we are holding something on behalf of the Democratic Labour Party candidates. Yes, we're doing it because somehow you believe that they have leprosy. Nobody must say anything good about Mr. Thorne, and nobody must say anything good about the Democratic Labour Party candidates. Well, you have a sorry thing, because all of this is being paid for by the citizens. By the citizens. Those of you who want to come and you want to join, it's $100. But everything is being paid for by the citizens. Thanks be to God for the citizens. No company is paying for this. No political party is paying for this. In the name and the spirit of democracy, this is being paid for to say, let the DLP live. And your tentacles that you all have, you just said it. You went and you took up yourselves and went into St. John.
Shortcomings.
Huh? To make sure. You want your prime minister sitting on the back of a truck. Where is she now? Where is she now? And that's why I say she gets away with all kinds of things in Barbados, and nobody's able to do like this. Nobody's able to bring correction, no accountability, no transparency. That's why I say to her, yes, Kamla, put her across your lap and give her the lashes.
Be careful with that, Marcia. Be careful with that.
You want here at home, you're going to get it outside.
Yeah.
Good.
Put her across.
that is me going off there too. Talk about it. What you saying? What you saying there?
I was just telling you to be careful with that further across your leg and spanker thing. Just be careful with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
be
yeah.
careful with that. I don't want to be violent, but what I'm saying, I don't want to be violent, right? I'm saying she had to be running from the reporter, and I tell you, you all are going to be ashamed. She is going to bring so much shame to you all of you, because there's no reason for you to gang up on one man like that. But I'm telling you, you're all going to see for yourselves. You're going to see for yourself. You think you see her running yet? You wait. You hear that scripture the Dr. Ferdinand read? Did you all hear it? Those of you coming on here. Yeah? Let me tell you something. This luncheon is going on, Apostle and Dr. Ferdinand. And you're running. You think you see any running yet? You think you see running yet? You wait. Huh?
Okay.
I haven't seen a can like that in years.
It's her petticoat, she running and clutching her pearls. And I'm telling you, all going to be shamed. You're all going to be shamed. You're all going to be running like Peter. You remember when Peter was denying Christ? All of you going to say, I know not the man. Watch and see. You all going to run. You hear what I tell you? All of us on here, we have the right to say what we're saying, the three of us. And I'm telling you, tonight, you are going to see more running, more dodging. Because if you think the train isn't finished with you yet, huh? You think they're finished with you yet? You're trying to hide up in Barbados, run to Barbados media because you know that nobody gonna ask you any questions. The media won't ask you any question, but you're running to them, running and talking about you're not answering anything in the public. But then you went right into the public hours after. You think we don't realize that you're a bully, but you're truly a coward? Just like real bullies, you're a coward. You ran from the reporters, true journalists. You run from. Yeah. And I tell you, I guess I had that pent up in me somewhere. Go ahead, Apostle. They're gonna write me all you want, and you can come and take me out. Take me out like what you all do to the man, Brent. Huh? What you want to do? Kidnap me, abduct me, and take me to Jamaica? I'll send you the location pin. Come. Go ahead, Doctor. Go ahead, Apostle. Close out for us before they come.
I'm just gonna say this. It came into my mind. Picture that I watched a number of years ago called The Crown. And there was a scene that I particularly like with a poem when the Queen was speaking to a member of the royal. And she used a poem from Charles Mackay. And the poem is called Enemies. And I'm saying this on the backdrop that I know this show, creates enemies. And the thing is that we are not afraid of having enemies. Anybody who's afraid of having enemies, you really have a problem. But this is what the poem says. You have no enemies, you say. Mm-hmm. Alas, my friend, the boast is poor. He who has mingled in the fray of duty, that the brave endure, must have made foes. If you have none, then small is the work that you have done. You've hit no traitor on the hip. You've dashed no cup from perjured lips. You've never turned the right to wrong, the wrong to right. You've been a coward in the fight. And I love that when I first heard it. I took a note of it. Very interesting point. And I want everyone who's listening to know that the Marcia Week Show and those of us who frequent the Marcia Week Show, we're not afraid of having enemies. There's a job that needs to be done in Barbados, and that job is to make sure that righteousness exalts our nation and that sin is a reproach to any people. we have to stand up and we have to fight for those who are unwilling to fight and afraid to fight, but know that things need to go right. And that's what I have to say tonight as we close.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Dr. Ferdinand. I love what you added tonight. It was awesome as usual. Thank you so much, Apostle Scantlebury.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
You can always you have my permission to say, I didn't say those things, Marcia did. That's okay. I'll take it.
Yes,
all right. Somebody's
welcome.
asking when is the luncheon, and the luncheon is on the 15th of March. It's a Sunday at 12:30. You're all invited. Those who are coming, there is a fee for you if you're not a candidate. Okay, we just gonna love on the candidates. All right. God bless you all. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Have a great night,
everybody.
Okay.
God bless. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That is live. Is live. You know what to do. Pam, padam, padam, pa pa na na na, pa pa na pa pa, dam, pa padam, padam, pa padam, pa padam. I know some of you wouldn't believe me, but if a lie asked my good friend Mackie, it was a big lying competition to see who the will crown as lying champion. Liars from all parts of the West Indies, big shot liars from all them foreign countries. From a feel about 1,000 or so entry in 2 days, he boiled down and leave just 3. I had me eye on Lion the Lion, because I know he does come with some good ones. But they had a younger fella named Debo, come from some village here in Tobago. He say his father is Tobago's best fisherman. Catch a fish a mile wide, 80 feet in span. He had to tighten his boat and swim back to land to get his brother Eric to give him a hand. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie. You hear lie? Teacher Percy said if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Yeah. Yeah. Lion the lion, he laughed till he sweat. He said, Mr. Debo, and say nothing yet. If you really want to hear about fishing, let me blow your mind. Now listen to something. When you're talking about fish, you just hit this spot. I was hoping you did, believe it or not. The fish your father caught, to you it was great, but the them small fish my father does use for bait. Lion went ahead on points in the show, complete eliminated Mr. Debo. The next man to beat was Willie Outrageous. He asked the judges if he could lie first. The judges asked Lion, the lion agreed. Say any topic will pick is all right with me. He outrageous I strong. Then we meet head on, and when we done see you, it to wear the crown. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie. You hear lie? Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. The outrageous said he knew a tailor come to make him suit. The man is a master. If you show him a man going around a corner, he could make him a suit and don't even measure. I'm talking about suit, sitting down correct, expertly made and fitting perfect. He used to swap for Shakespeare, next suit for Hamlet. And up to this day, yet make a mistake, yet you know the crowd went wild. They couldn't cool down. I say the lion losing the crowd. The judges brought the crowd back to order and asked the lion to lie about the tailor. He said, my man is the best. Rolf is his name. Cotton cloth, making suit is his game. Don't show him the man. My tailor is class. They show him the corner where the fella pass and he go make a suit at his tailor. You hear lion? King liar.
Teacher Percy said if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you tell.
Why, sir? That is lie.
Teacher Percy